The Jedi Order has fallen. 5 years have passed since Order 66. The remaining Jedi are scattered throughout the galaxy. The Sith have regained their place of power.
Welcome everyone down to the Matcave. You found your way to Matcave Gaming and it is Way Back Wednesday. And tonight, we're not going too far back, but we're going back to a game that, in my opinion, reignited the world of gaming for Star Wars. We're going to play some Jedi Fallen Order. I feel like this game breathed new life into the franchise, and I think in a lot of good ways. And we're going to have some fun with this game tonight. I've been in a Star Wars mood lately, and it's been an interesting mood that I've been in because as much as I love this franchise and as much as I love Star Wars gaming, there's been things that have concerned me with latest developments and things that are going on with the franchise overall. So what I'd like to do tonight, guys, is we're going to have some fun playing through the game here. I got a new computer that we're playing this on, so we're going to check out some settings and see if we can push this and see how good we can get this game to look and play. So we'll have some fun with that. And while we're going tonight, what I'd like to do is talk to you all about how I'm feeling about the Star Wars franchise overall, past, present, and future. I don't normally get into it often. You know, I'll go on some other channels here and there, like the Star Wars Obsession and Scotty Hawk and Chillin' in the Basement or Echo Base Network, and, you know, I will share some of my thoughts there, depending on, you know, the topic and what we're all talking about. But I never really go too deep into it here at Matcave Gaming. And that's something I'd like to get into a bit with you guys tonight, share my feelings on this overall. A lot of people ask me all the time, you know, what I think about a certain show or one of the movies or what are my thoughts on the prequels, the OT, the sequels. And, you know, I give little bits of information here and there, but for the most part, I keep a lot of things in to myself. Well, tonight I want to share a lot of that with you guys. I want to answer your questions. If you have any, feel free to throw them into the chat. You know, I want to catch up on chat with you guys here in just a moment. I see a ton of people popping in already, which is awesome. I'm loving this. We're going to go through a lot of things regarding the entire Star Wars franchise. And while we play the game, I want to use one of the bonus features as well. I'm feeling a little bit of the dark side. I don't know if you could tell from that intro video, but I'm feeling a little Sith-like. So we're going to use the unlocked Inquisitor outfit with Cal Kestis. And as soon as we possibly can in the game, we're going to switch that lightsaber crystal out to red. We're going to go as close to Sith as we can in this game, but I really want to see how it does on this brand new rig here. And speaking of that, speaking of this new PC, I have to give a gigantic thank you to this entire community. Guys, just to give you a brief little story, this past Thursday, my computer died. The whole thing crapped out. Everything went, it basically just went brain dead. And I panicked. I didn't know what I was going to do. I lost some stuff in the process, but I was in a panic mode trying to figure out what to do. Well, thanks to the amazing support of this community, combined with gift cards and rewards points, I was able to get a new computer that not only can handle what I was doing already, but this thing is amped up even more than what I had before. So I'm really excited to start getting this gaming going with you guys here on the brand new rig. This is our first live stream on this new computer, so I'm actually a little concerned. I don't know what could possibly happen tonight. I don't know what sort of technical difficulties we might run into, but whatever it is, we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna do this together. But we're gonna definitely amp up the settings of this game and see what we can do with it. And like I said, along the way, I'm going to share my thoughts on the franchise overall. I'll answer your questions if you guys have any. And then, depending on how long we go tonight, there's something else I would like to go over with you guys if we have time tonight, depending on how far we get. Many of you know that a while back I worked on my own fan-made edit of the sequel trilogy, and I made more changes to it recently and started working on that, and I want to set up to have some watch parties in Discord very soon. But I have an entire list of notes of the changes that I made to those films, and if you guys are up for it, I'd like to go over those changes with you and give you kind of my reasoning of why I did what I did to those films. But guys, we are going to do some gaming before we get into any of that. Let's switch over to the game screen and get this thing fired up. Hopefully everything works out well. With this, as always, you guys are my eyes and ears. If we need to make any adjustments on the fly, let me know, and we will take care of that. Thank you, Sith Apple. I love this new shirt. I got this from Echo Base Network. I love this shirt. I love the design being Hoth. It's so cool. All right, let's switch over to the game screen. Okay, let me get this going here. We are going to do a New Journey Plus. We'll start from the beginning of the game. I love that intro of the game. There's a lot of cool things that happen in it, and I think that's a really graphic-heavy area, too, being in the scrapyard. So I think that's going to be a good thing to push it. But before we dive into it, let me go into the options here. It did kind of an auto scan when I fired up the game. So let's see what we put it on. My intent here is to push this. To see what we can do. So, you know, I'm using a controller tonight. Gameplay settings, I don't think I need to change any of this stuff here. Visuals, let's take a look here. We got the motion blur. The film grain I turn off. I don't know. Let me know, guys, in the chat, what is your opinion on having the film grain effect in games? For some games, I do like it, but for the most part, I always turn it off. I'd rather have the nice, clear graphics on there. Okay, let's go into video. This is what we want. So we're playing into full screen. This way we don't have any frame rate issues. Resolution, we're going to play... I didn't push this to full 4K because I want to match what the stream is outputting. So I switched the resolution to 1440 so that we're playing nice with the stream and everything is consistent across the board, which is perfectly fine. We're going to do 60 frames per second, which is the max that my monitor can do anyway, so that's where I'm just going to leave it at. You know, I'm sure this game can go higher. It could probably do 120, but my monitor won't display that, so I'm not even going to bother with it. Video sync I put on so we don't get any vertical tearing. Dynamic resolution scaling. Honestly, I don't know exactly what this does. If I understand it correctly, it'll adjust resolution while you play depending on what's going on, and in all honesty, I'd prefer that it doesn't do that. I'd like to keep it at the resolution I set it to. And it looks like we already got it set to epic on everything else. Yes, it is. This thing's amped up. It's amped up, guys. Alright, so I think this is about as far as we can push this tonight. Let's see how the game handles on this new rig. Jedi Fallen Order is such a visually stunning game. I'm really excited to see this, guys, with you. We're going to have some fun with this, guys. Alright, here we go. Start a new journey. I'm just going to put it on story mode so we can just really, like, push through and have some fun. And we're going to put on that Inquisitor outfit. Let's do this. Just grab a slot. What's going on, everybody? Man, we got so many people in chat tonight. Oh, I didn't set up the pop-up chat. I knew I was forgetting something. Ah, I'm such a dummy. I am such a dummy. Let the anger flow through you. Yes. All right, here we go. We're going to get the... Oh, man. All right, guys. Let me know how volume is, if we need to turn it up, turn it down, anything like that. It sounds good in my headphones. Looks good here. Smooth. I love this scrapyard that you start in. It's so cool. Oh, my God. The lighting effects are fantastic. Oh, and that epic song is going to kick in here. Yes, Black Dragon, I have played this all the way through, quite a few times, actually. I haven't played it at full tilt, though, on the PC. I've played it on the PS4 and PS5, but I've never been able to crank it up to epic on the PC. And so far, so good. So far, so good, guys. Yeah, Sabersmith, this game is so cool.
Listen, I don't want to upset your rhythm, Cal, but the boss wants a word.
Take a listen to the stream volume.
It's going to be good for us. Here he is, Chief.
Okay, sounds good. At least it does on my phone there. You guys let me know if it's too loud or anything like that. Let me know. We'll make the adjustments as we go.
That's not an easy maneuver.
Man.
The Gap will double your pay for this ship.
Look at that droid. Look at the detail.
What's her score? I couldn't hurt. Huh?
This is awesome, guys.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Get to work.
Resolution, right, Mars? Oh my God, this looks fantastic. And it can bump up even higher. We're in 1440 right now, and I did that on purpose, just for the sake of, you know, matching resolutions on the stream output. But oh my goodness, this is, I tell you, the controls are incredibly responsive. There is no lag.
Don't worry about it.
This is moving smooth right now, guys. This is like butter. Let's see, they're going to haul in that Federation ship here. Let's take a look at that. Oh, you can even see it more through the fog.
Will you look at that? A separatist ship.
Oh, man.
I've seen a loop.
Clifton, what's up, dude? I'm going to go quite a bit into the game here tonight. I don't think we'll finish it tonight, but I'm going to go quite a ways here.
All right, let's go.
Need a live-action Cal Kestis, as long as they do it right and respectful. Absolutely, Blazerhawk. I want to see him portrayed in live action. I think it would be fantastic. I love this area. Just look at all of the activity that's going on in this scrapyard. And look how far back you can see when you crank up the graphics in this game. Oh my goodness, and all the ship parts. This is so cool. Such a great opening level. You know, this is basically acts as the tutorial.
Hey, you
Top
okay?
down here. Look at the rain going down the slide.
Meet you at the clamps.
Depart this barge immediately.
Oh, hello.
You are not approved trash.
Oh,
You're trash, just not approved trash.
oh, I almost fell. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Let's get out here. Hello, probe droid. Look at all those droids flying by. Sick. There's so much going on in this scrapyard. You got people working all over the place here. Very cool. Yeah, Braca is awesome. It's cool looking around this whole area.
Easy there.
Just passing through.
And I like the first planet that you go to in the game. I think it's Pagano. Very cool area. But my favorite in the game is where you start to explore all the Zepho stuff. I love that portion of the game.
Reckless cow.
Good to see you.
You too. Don't get yourself killed.
That's the idea.
I'll be getting into, you know, my thoughts on the franchise overall in a little bit. I just want to take us through this intro level here first and really take this in, because this looks really good. I hope it's coming through well on
Sounds
the
like
stream,
rats. Creepy.
because I'm playing
passing
this
through,
right
guys.
now on a
No need to come out and
32-inch
say hi
4K
this time.
monitor. sitting right in front of me. And this is absolutely gorgeous. I have not felt a single hiccup
I'll meet you at the clamps.
in this, and this is cranked all the way up. And now, seeing how, I mean, we're all, you know, only in the beginning, but seeing how this is performing, I haven't picked up Jedi Survivor on the PC yet. I have it on PS5, and that game looks even better than this.
How'd you get here?
How'd you get here?
I may have to get that on the PC now as well. Not getting any screen tearing, which is great. When I was playing this game previously on the other machine, when I would crank it up, yeah, the details would kick in a lot more, but I was getting screen tearing very often in it.
Ship cutter is here. There it goes.
This is a great moment here too.
Hey, we should get moving. Yep, good looking out.
It's just like so much to look at. Mars, you don't have Survivor yet? Have you played it or watched any playthroughs of it? Survivor's great. I beat that game as well. I really enjoyed Survivor. Look at the Sarlacc pit down there. Very cool.
Cal, use the manual override lever below.
Alright, let's get this all situated here.
Got it. Your turn.
I gotta say,
All right.
this looks better than it does on the PS5 right now.
You okay?
At least
Still here.
At least I think so.
Give me a friend
I'm
there, pal.
noticing details here that I have not seen before in this game. Even the way the water is puddling on top of this gear.
We're done. Get out up here.
And here we go. I'm getting a cutscene here.
Come take a look at this. It's a Jedi fighter. What a
so
score!
good.
It's a real
So good.
scrapper's payday. I mean, this thing's been here, what, 4 years?
5.
Whoever flew this went down in a blaze of glory. Those Jedi.
I always get
Real
lost.
tragedy.
Yeah, especially that Zepho
I've
world.
always
You can
said they
get lost
couldn't all
real
be
easy.
traitors.
Yeah, maybe.
Guess it's just our lucky day. I was gonna get a lot of good material out of it.
Oh, I forgot to change the outfit.
Here we are, scrapping these ships from the
We're
war
still
just so we
wearing
can
the
turn around
poncho.
and
I gotta
new
change
ones.
to the
Racket, huh?
I gotta change out to the Inquisitor outfit.
And the pay was better back during the Republic, too.
Hey, you really should watch what you say.
Listen to me. Find us feel like this, could be your ticket off this soggy rock.
What makes you think I want out of here?
Come on, Cal, you're a young
Marsh says,
guy.
I enjoyed this game,
You
but I
don't
heard they
end up
messed
like
up the
me.
story in Survivor. I really
Gotta
loved the
move on
story in
with
Jedi
life.
Survivor.
Find your destiny.
I really don't have any complaints about that game.
Whatever you say. Hey, we should get back down.
Oh, this is where it goes. Here we go. Yeah, poncho life. I'm gonna be losing the poncho in a little bit. Ooh. I'm gonna wear that Inquisitor outfit. It just looks so cool. Woo! Oh, I'm gonna hit that one. Oh, smash right in the face.
Prof, you okay?
Cal, I can't climb up.
Prof,
Alright, everybody get ready. We're gonna get a moment totally inspired by Die Hard. Here we go.
I can't hold on.
Prof, no!
Die Hard. Might as well have been Hans Gruber falling right there from Nakatomi Tower.
Pilot's gone. I'll get us out of here. Just hang on.
Watch out, Cal.
Yeah, Survivor definitely took the lore in a whole really awesome direction. I love the tie-ins to some of the High Republic stuff that they were talking about in that game. Really good things. Really good stuff.
Prof, you all right?
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay,
We gotta move. Come on.
Oh, man.
What the hell happened?
Yippee-ki-yay!
What was that?
Yeah,
Was
that
that
moment.
What, that was the Force, wasn't it?
Just forget what you saw, okay? Please
No,
trust
but
me.
I've seen
Cal
the-
is
I've seen the
panicking
stories.
right
I've
now.
heard it. There's bounties out on people
I
like
know. I know.
you. Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah.
We need to be
Yeah,
careful.
Roth needs to keep it down. So anyone who's not familiar with this game takes place 5 years after Order 66. And Cal Kestis is a survivor from Order 66, and he has been on the run and in hiding all of these years. And this is a good friend he has made along the way.
Good. Yeah, you?
Yeah.
You could see the fear
Cal.
in Cal.
I've been working with you some time now. I've never seen you do anything like that before. We've been through some hell together. So,
Good friend with a big mouth, yeah. Yeah, he's really got to keep it down about all that Force stuff.
Don't mention
Gonna get Cal killed.
it. I mean it.
oh, you don't have to worry about me.
It's intense, though.
This place, it's not safe.
Everything with Order 66, that's still fresh, man.
Maybe you should.
It wasn't that long ago at this point.
Just gotta head back to my place, grab my bag. Tappers owes me a favor.
Tappers.
I heard he was up on
I love playing tappers.
No Shadella.
Yeah. You won't be seeing me for a while, Prof.
See, Spidey Librarian. So many people wanted to write during this era of Star Wars. I even wrote a spec fan script a long time ago about Jedi surviving the Purge. That's awesome, Spidey. Love that. It's such an amazing time frame in the saga. You know, any surviving Jedi are living in fear, and you could see how Cal panicked when all of that happened. It just gets so intense. Oh, this moment is absolutely outstanding. This is great. Man, the lighting is so good in this.
Prof?
I remember the first time I was playing this, and this moment happened. I was like, oh my god, where's Broff doing? Is he gonna tell on Cal? I was so
Broff, wait
confused.
up.
And then I noticed all this, see this? Look at this, people disappeared. It almost looks like Cal is like in the world between worlds.
Where are you going?
This is such a cool moment here. And I was like, oh boy, this thing's locked. All right, here we go. Let's turn around. Oh, yeah. This is where I was like, okay, this story is going to be insane. Oh, man. His Force cave.
Apprentice, mark well and listen.
Master.
Trust only in the Force.
So cool. Oh, there was a little bit of a hiccup there in that transition.
Train has stopped.
Yeah.
Real Wayne, what's going on?
going
Good to
on?
see you.
Everybody up. Identification ready.
Oh boy. You don't need to see his identification.
Move out and line up.
Probably just another contraband inspection.
Had a really weird dream where he's on some good drugs. Ted's saying, interesting time period. Empire is in full power. Vader is pissed and hunting Jedi. Kenobi and Yoda trying to get set. Yep. It's insane. Here comes the Inquisitors. Yeah, once we get back to gameplay, I'll swap out the uniform. We'll take off the poncho, and we're going to put on an Inquisitor outfit. This is not the Chichi you're looking for. Oh my god. Oh, there was a little bit, another hiccup there in the cutscene.
Is this all of them?
Yes,
Not terrible, but it took a moment to kind of catch up there.
A dangerous fugitive. This is no common anarchist.
Did you see my Game Boy video on Discord? Did I see the Game Boy video?
Order.
I gotta look. I don't think I watched that. I'll check for that.
To turn over this
Yeah,
traitor
Trilla is so cool.
will result in a charge of sedition. Turn yourself in,
Very cool.
or everyone present shall face summary execution.
I think
Oh man.
it's time someone came forward.
Aussie, what's going on? Says, this is my favorite time period in Star Wars. So cool seeing how powerful the Empire is.
I've been working on this heap a long time.
Empire's scary.
Way before the war. We refit and rebuilt ships. Best in the galaxy.
There we go.
Then came the Empire.
Who's that, a green Mick Jagger?
Came scrappers. The workers? They just started getting worked.
Broff. Oh, Broff, what are you doing?
We all know the truth. We're just too afraid to say it. To the Empire, we're all just expendable.
Yes, you are.
No!
Oh, man.
Look at this. A lightsaber.
Oh, it's on.
I found the Jedi!
Who's that? That's the ninth sister, I think?
What's that? Checking out the disturbance.
Oh,
That hurts.
hello, troopers.
Hold it. Don't move. How'd you
Yeah,
get
the
here?
graphics are insane.
Easy now.
Got a stowaway.
Hey, you
Do
don't need
that.
to call this in.
Quiet. This is TK-8190. You shouldn't be here.
Nope, not today. Alright, we're going to change out of this poncho, everybody. We've all seen Cal Kestis in the poncho by now. Let's change this thing out. Appearance, we're going dark side, everybody. Let's go. Let's go. We're going to change out the look of the Mantis later as well, and we'll change out the look of BD-1, but for now, we are going Inquisitor Cal Kestis. And as soon as we get to a lightsaber bench, we're going to swap out that crystal. But for now, we're going to work with the blue saber.
Is that over the comm? The Jedi? Stay sharp. They won't. The traitor. Blast them. Taking aim. Fine.
He punched me.
Take him down. Contact confirmed. Shoot to kill.
Bring it on, boys. What do you got? I love deflecting blaster bullets.
Get him. Sealed the cargo door. I can take you out. No problem.
What do you got? You gonna shoot? Alright. Let's get through this tutorial section here. Yes, a rogue Inquisitor. And the ninth sister, typical equals typical Sith logic. I found the Jedi. Just forgot to mention that the second sister exposed them.
One way out.
Ooh, here we go. This reminds me of Uncharted. Uncharted 2.
Gotta keep moving.
When you're going through the train in that game. Such a cool moment. Hello, boyos.
I chose to rest instead. That's how I propose.
Oh, now I got the red one.
Let's get it. I knew this was a bad idea.
Sick. Oh, I guess I had to bring out the lightsaber once and then put it away. That's what seemed to activate the red saber. That's awesome. Sweet. Just gotta go through the tutorial steps here. Otherwise, this will go on forever. Alright, let's parry this guy. Oh, I love that we didn't have to wait for the lightsaber table, the bench. It's got that Jedi slow power right there, which is awesome. Oop, here we go. Now we can climb this. Oh, I'm so happy that we have the red lightsaber already. Woo!
Can't top my skill. The fugitive comes this way. The last one.
Took him out. Oh my god, this is amazing. Woohoo! Got a bunch of guys.
Hey, an intruder.
Bring it on, fellas.
I can't get him.
Woo!
Is he gonna kill us all? Whip up now.
Sick. The lightsaber combat in this game is phenomenal. What's up, chillin'? Good to see you, dude. Playing some Fallen Order. We've got Cal Kestis in the Inquisitor outfit, and we got a red lightsaber.
Stop the train.
Scotty, what's going on? So sorry I'm late. Things are coming together in the GTA city. Nice. New prospects. Good. Good, good, good.
Oh, no.
That's awesome, dude.
Need cover.
By the way, Scotty, I
move in
installed
between
GTA 5.
Now.
So I just need your insight on how to get the RP stuff installed. 'Cause I don't know how to do that. Woo! Here we go. Here we go.
Faster.
Oh boy, that was close.
He's here. I'm ready for your trick.
Oh, get wrecked.
He shot the coupling out.
This is one heck of a
Gotta get
tutorial mission. Oh boy. This whole environment is... Look at the sparks coming off of that up there. That's insane.
Whoa! This is bad. Only way is up.
Oh my god. This is like that track you see in Solo. I like that scene in that movie, actually. I like Solo overall. We'll get into that too tonight. I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on every aspect of this saga tonight, because it's about time I come clean on all that. Things will be so floaty tonight. That jumping was really floaty, Alan.
Keep moving. We'll pick you up when we can.
Yeah, Mars, I liked Solo. It was cool. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out what Scotty's doing over on GTA in the roleplay cities, go check that out. It's freaking awesome. And I think I'm gonna have to try it out at some point. Now that I got the new rig, I think that it's no better time, right? Put on some new hardware and see how it does. There's a lot going on. I hope the game volume's not too loud, guys. Cat.
Stop slipping away. He's mine. Got it.
Oh, he got some hits in.
Guess it's a raised fight now.
Man, Cal looks so cool with a red lightsaber.
What now? Train stop?
Jillian says the game image is sharper than a vibroblade. Dude, this is looking sick. I am loving this. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Oh. Oh boy. Oh, I almost. Oh, I think I was gonna miss. I really love the Mantis also. I love that ship design. It's very cool. Scotty said it's a brand new city, so it's been a lot of server crashing and literally building the city out. Oh, wow. Okay, so there's a lot of work going into it. All right, here we go, guys. We are going to have technically our first boss fight here, which is also part of the tutorial section of the game, but a really cool moment here.
Going somewhere.
Sabersmith, you're snowed in? Oh, man. We got some snow here, but not a lot, and it iced over. So now it's just a bunch of ice outside. Look at the rain on his armor.
What Jedi gave their life so that you might live?
I just realized I didn't turn on subtitles. Woo!
Better than I thought. Very well. You won't.
You gotta evade when they turn red. Okay. That's a pretty common thing in a lot of games. When an enemy turns red, you can't block it.
You have to do better.
Get a few hits in. Then Cal has that ability to slow things down. So use that against your enemies, get a few extra hits in. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Ooh, clickety click. Yeah, fire, fire. What's up, Obsession? This honestly would have made for a great movie. When the boss turns red, soon you could be dead. Yeah, it's true. Well, she means business. Hang on, Grease. This is sick. I love that uniform. Have you guys seen Inquisitor Cal Kestis before?
Okay,
I love
shut
this.
that thing off and grab some seat.
Now, if only you could actually choose to go to the dark side, that would be amazing.
Thanks for the help. But who are you people?
My name is Seer Junda, and this is my captain, Grease Dritus.
How you doing? Yeah, the
Good
man
to
is
see
my
everybody
ship,
here.
but you
Pops,
better
what's
pay
going on
attention to this
here?
lady here.
So, who are you?
Cal. Kestis.
Yeah, let me take a look at how's the poll doing here.
Imperial
Pops
Inquisitor.
chimed in, said it was
She's a Force
40%.
user hunting Jedi survivors. And
that
now that she
point.
knows who you are, she will not
see what I
stop
got
until
going
she
on.
destroys you.
How do you know so much? And why'd you help me?
We track Imperial communications.
Yeah,
Heard
we'll
the
check
Inquisitors
how
were
that
heading
is
south.
going.
So
It's
Oh, yeah?
that's the thing though, and one of the reasons why I
Most
want
of
to
the
talk
bounty on
about
Jedi these days
Star
anyway.
Wars tonight,
That's
and why I put
gratitude
that
for
poll
ya.
up there.
I get it. You've been
the-
surviving on your own for so long that it's impossible to trust
In my
anyone.
opinion, the fandom is
It's
more
what's kept you alive.
evenly split
But this is
than
about
people
something
think.
bigger than just surviving.
So it's an interesting time right now to be a Star Wars fan.
Rebuilding the Jedi Order.
Sabersmith says Cal's going to end up like being like Mace, takes from both sides. Yeah, you know, with the abilities that Mace Windu has, being able to tap into both the light side and the dark side
Jedi
abilities, I could see Cal doing that. I love his ability where he can sense events that happened around a space or an object. I love that that idea of a power. It's very cool.
Captain.
Yeah, Fable-style Star Wars game, absolutely.
In the meantime,
Chillin'. Last I saw, Sheev was home, and he's beginning his recovery. I haven't talked to him since. I got to check in with him. I know Obsession's been in touch, really more than anybody else. But I got to touch base with him, and Sheev is such a good guy. And again, the whole community coming together. Thank you all so much for doing what you did to help out our friend. He's a great guy. One of the most amazing people in the Star Wars fandom, guys.
In your sleep.
Weirdo.
Man, this is really playing nicely. I just want to get this to kind of a calming moment where we can really, you know, chat while we're playing here. We're actually we're not quite at a save point, and I can't use this bench yet, but this will be a spot where we can modify the lightsaber. I think if it'll let me modify the Sith version of the saber, we could make something pretty cool. But this is that ability I was just talking about, where he can sense the history of an object. This is something I've only ever seen, I think it was in Knights of the Old Republic, where that ability was shown. In the sequel, maybe? Maybe it was Knights, or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but we've definitely seen this ability before. Fandomology, what's going on, Paul? What's going on, dude? Good to see you, my friend. Scotty says, the new order, in my opinion, should not fear the dark side abilities like the past.
So,
Yes, there should be some form of, really, of balance between the two.
And witness events connected to it.
I would love to see it head in that direction.
Feel its history.
It's an echo in the force from the object.
It's
Jedi
Spock's
have that
harp.
skill.
How would you know that?
I was once a Jedi.
Spidey says, in some RPG systems, the ability is referred to as psychometry? Psychometry?
But I knew your
I
master.
don't know if I'm saying that right.
General DePaul. He was a
Okay.
true guardian of the Republic.
Well, she knew Master T'Pol.
He was a hero.
We saw him in Cal's vision before there. Oh, I'm like stepping on my wire. Sorry, guys. I'm just like shifting here a little bit.
Something happened to me during the purge.
Max says
I
it
survived.
started as balance, then they split.
My connection to the force is damaged.
Yeah,
when I meditate,
it's
if I let my guard down, I lose control. And
it's
like
an
I'm back in
interesting
that
time
moment.
where we could see
survived,
the story and the lore move into really
You're not
interesting
alone.
places, and
Not anymore.
if we get good writers with it and people that care, we could see some great stuff. Aussie, right? Quinlan Voss had that ability. We saw him do that in Clone Wars, right? I knew I saw it happen before. Ted says, it takes a special person to not be corrupted by the temptation of the power of the dark side. Yes, the dark side, you know, Yoda tells us all that, how it's the quick and easy path. It's the temptation is very alluring. Look at this lighting here.
The Empire doesn't know this place exists.
Man,
So,
Pagano is awesome.
we
Yes,
hide
the
out
dark side
here?
isn't more powerful. It's quicker,
We're done
easier,
hiding,
more seductive. Absolutely.
See that structure over there?
Absolutely.
I believe that vault holds the key to rebuilding
We got
the
26
Jedi
people
Order.
in chat tonight.
But
Thank you
it
all so
requires
much for
someone
being here.
strong in the Force
Be
to
sure
pass
to
its
click that
test.
like button while you're here. It is one
you're
of
not a
the
Jedi
best
anymore,
ways
that's
to
why you
help
need
support
me.
the channel. It really
I
is.
know.
You guys,
You
when you
trust me.
interact with the channel,
I'm
when
not
you
really
interact with
sure
the
I
streams,
trust
the
you.
replays, in the comment
But we
section,
have
that
a
like
common
button,
enemy
it
and a common
really,
cause.
it truly does go a
I'll share
long
more
way.
of my
It
plan
really
after
does.
you reach the vault.
Thank you guys so much.
Until then, there's someone here I think you should.
Yeah, Chillin was saying, I knew there was another, I just couldn't remember.
May the
Yeah,
Force
it
be
was
with you.
Quinlan Voss. Yeah, such a cool character. I loved that he was referenced in the Kenobi show. That was so cool when they were on that path, and then there was the carvings on the wall. Look at this environment. This is gorgeous. Oh my
Guess I'm
goodness.
looking for a Jedi then. But if there's already one here, why does Seer need me?
And there's that temple. That's what we're going to be heading towards. This is absolutely gorgeous. I just want to pan the camera a little bit here, guys. That lighting, that ray tracing happening there. Beautiful. We got all those birds flying in the sky. Again, this is kind of a tech test for me tonight, playing this on the new rig and pushing the graphics to epic. I just want to see if there's any issues with like the rendering or anything like that, but everything looks so good. We got that creature all the way out in the background there, and then we're back to the lighting here coming in with the ray tracing. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. This is fantastic. Let's walk through the water. Look at this. Look how much it interacts. This game is beautiful, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Woo! I love it. I love it. We're still holding the red saber, right? Yeah, we are. All right, guys. Before we push forward, because we're about to meet BD1, one of my favorite newest characters to the saga, to the world of Star Wars. Absolutely love that character, and we're about to meet him. But I want to talk a little bit about why I chose to play this game in particular, because there's plenty of games out there, especially newer games, where I can really push this rig further. But this game, Jedi Fallen Order, when this came out in 2019, it breathed new life into Star Wars gaming. The Star Wars games were kind of reaching a little bit of a downer. You know, we had Battlefront 2 came out from EA, which is still played tons by players still to this day, including myself. But things that EA and the studios were doing with it didn't sit well with a lot of fans. And then this is an EA game as well. And here's the crazy thing about this game being developed. EA, as the studio, it was reported early on they had really no faith in this game. The developers, the creators of the game, on the other hand, people who were truly making it, were embracing it and loved it and were true fans. The problem was EA insisted that gamers don't want single-player story-driven games anymore. They just don't want them. And when I heard that, I was like, what are you guys smoking? And how crazy is that to even think that? EA was like, no. All gamers want are online competitive games with loot crates and pay-to-win options and a whole bunch of crap like that. They said that's all players want. They've just bulked every gamer into one group and said that's all you want to play. So EA did not have faith in this game. Because of that, they rushed the developers. There was more that was supposed to happen with this game. There was more details supposed to be put into it. There was a bunch that got cut from this because EA, as the studio putting out the game, rushed them because they insisted that no one was going to want this. No one wanted a single-player, story-driven game. Well, Jedi Fallen Order launched, and to EA's surprise, but no one else's, everyone pretty much loved it. People fell in love with this game. It brought back this new spark in story-driven games. It brought back this spark in the Star Wars fandom. We were getting a new story that is being considered canon and put into an adventure style very reminiscent of the styles of the newer Tomb Raider games and more recently the Uncharted games. Throw that together with Star Wars, give them a lightsaber and have the Force, and you have yourself damn near a masterpiece. And when this praise came in and took EA by surprise because they just insisted no one would want this, everyone loved the game, and I'll tell you, right away, they started pushing for the sequel. EA they were gonna treat this as a one and done. This was gonna be one and done. It comes out, it goes away, and they weren't gonna touch it again. But everyone loved it. So right away, they got working on the sequel. And Jedi Survivor is an insane game, and you can tell that the developers were given more freedom that time around when you compare the two games. Not just in the amped up graphics and the detail, but in the storytelling, in the mechanics, in the controls, what you're capable of doing. It's so much bigger than this game. And this game is big to begin with. But it's amazing that the studio, who is EA, is one of the biggest gaming studios out there. And there's plenty of EA games that I grew up with that I love, the sports games in particular. But what they've chosen to do in recent years with other games, even their sports games, I don't always agree with. I think some of their practices are pretty poor. I think some of it's pretty shady as well. And it hurts the developers themselves, the creators, the people who are boots on the ground making these games and telling these stories. It hurts them when you have these big companies that are just dictating what's going to happen with it. Meanwhile, the actual creatives, they have their hands tied behind their back and expected to put out a good product. And it's not just in the world of gaming, that goes for movies and television as well. And the big one, the big elephant in the room, obviously, is Disney. And what they've done with very large franchises, including Star Wars and Marvel. Now, that said, I enjoy a lot of what has come out during the Disney-owned era. There's a lot of it that I enjoy. And I have expressed that before in other streams on other channels, you know, talking about stuff when it came to the sequel trilogy and when it came to the shows that came out on Disney+. But this story right here, the story of Cal Kestis, the story of Jedi Fallen Order, is a Disney Star Wars product. And it is proof that there still can be really good stories told. And there's a lot that can be told. There's a lot to work with. And we can look forward to good things coming, and I think we will have good things coming, but we'll dive deeper into that. But I just wanted to talk about this game in particular at first to say, you know, why I think this is such an amazing thing that happened for the franchise, because it almost didn't continue. It almost didn't come out at all. That's how much EA pushed back on the development of this game. They really had no faith in it, and they weren't shy about telling you. You know, this was public knowledge. It was just awful. It's just crazy. Yeah, EA, I am the studio. Yeah, it's just insane. They take all that money and then make another Call of Duty. Oh, and just don't get me started on Call of Duty. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. What a mess. What a mess. You know what I tried to do the other night, guys? I tried just, you know, offline. I just wanted to try out Warzone on the new machine. It took over a half an hour just to get to gameplay. I was angry. I was not happy. I almost didn't play at all, but it finally loaded, so I was like, okay, let me play a little bit. But over a half an hour to just get the game going. Just, that's absurd. That's ridiculous. But, yeah, it's when you have these giant companies dictating what happens when it comes to creativity, Some do well, some honestly do well, but others tend to hurt the product at the end of the day. And that's what has brought the Star Wars fandom to where it is today. We are split. There's multiple camps, and even though the common ground is that at the end of the day, we all do love Star Wars. That's why we're here. That's why we play these games. That's why we watch those movies. That's why we talk about it all the time. We love Star Wars. That's a fact. That is the common ground for everyone in the fandom, no matter which side you're on. But unfortunately, we're split. We're so divided to a point where instead of being focused on doing what we can to make it better, we fight with each other. And you see it all over the place. You see it on Twitter, you see it on YouTube, you see it on Twitch, you see it on Facebook, you see it everywhere. The fandom is at each other's throats. And that is the worst thing to come out of all of it. I don't care how bad a movie was or how bad a show was. The fandom being destroyed, that's the worst part. Because I grew up with Star Wars. I grew up with the beginning. And it was one of those things that when you found someone who also liked Star Wars, it literally was an instant bond. Like, you didn't have to even know the person. It just became a bond. You could be from completely different backgrounds. It didn't matter. Star Wars was that common denominator for so many people, and it spawned so many friendships, lifelong friendships. That's how powerful this saga is. That's how powerful this story, this franchise is. And it hurts my soul to see the fandom the way it is now. Because that's not what it used to be. Even at a time when people thought it was bad around the prequels, trust me, it was nowhere near as bad as it is today. Mostly because the world of social media wasn't really a thing at the time. But it was very different. I feel like there was more of a level of respect during that time with the prequels, where people could debate and agree to disagree without trying to hurt each other. Like, it was a very different time. Now everything is low blows. Like, I'm talking, like, if this was a boxing match, there would be points deducted all over the place. People would be disqualified. It's a mess right now. And I want to go through, as we go, I'm going to continue the gameplay here in a moment, but as we go, I want to take you through my journey as a Star Wars fan and what this franchise means to me, how I have perceived the things happening around me when it comes to this franchise, how I see... yeah, Cal's getting impatient. Don't worry, Cal. We're going to move in a moment. How I see people act when it comes to this fandom, and what I truly think about each thing that has come out, past, present, and what we have on the docket to come in the future. So let's move Cal through here. Let's go find BD1. And while I move through here, let's talk about the original trilogy a little bit here. The original trilogy obviously is what started it all, and I was born in '82, so obviously I didn't get to see the original in theaters, but I did get to see Return of the Jedi when I was very young, and my father had gotten the original film on a VHS, and that's how I saw A New Hope for the first time, and it was something that just blew me away. I've been watching Star Wars since I was about 2 years old, and I've been with it ever since. The original trilogy hooked me right away. In fact, The Empire Strikes Back is not only my favorite film in the franchise, it's my favorite film of all time. I don't think anything will ever beat it. But, you know, Star Wars back then, it was definitely one of those things where it was like, yeah, it was nerdy to be a Star Wars fan or talk about Star Wars. But when you found someone else who liked it, it just, like I said, it was this instant bond. And there was this entire period of time where that's all there was. It was just that the original trilogy. There was the holiday special, but we don't talk about that. And then there was even the Ewok films. So there was a little bit more to it that happened. We got the droids cartoon, the Ewok cartoon. There was a little bit of an expanded universe that happened. And then at that point, books and novels were being written and the story was becoming bigger. But that was pretty much it. And it wouldn't be until 1999 that a new Star Wars film would come out. And I remember first hearing about it about mid-90s, somewhere around 95, if we got the first little hints that something was coming. And that was an unbelievable moment, hearing that we were about to get more Star Wars. But let's go meet BD-1, and then I'm going to tell you about my experience with the prequels. Let's go meet BD-1. We gotta see BD. He's one of my favorite droids in the saga. I love this guy. Oh yeah, give us a point. Might as well grab this while we're at it. $73 for Alan. Nice. $75 for chillin'. Sabersmith says, I saw A New Hope in theaters when I was 7. My mind was blown. I was hooked. We did have a long drought, but the comics keep me alive. Yeah. We had the comics. We got the books. We got the spin-off, like, Ewok movies. We got those cartoons for the kids. There was some good stuff that was happening back then, even in the 80s. Alright, let's meet one of my favorite droids. What's up, BD?
Hey, BD-1. I'm Cal. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm looking for someone. No, not you. I'm searching for a Jedi, I think. Hold on. You know the Jedi? What do you know? Wait, hold on. Did you just slice that?
Clifton, what's up, dude? It says, talking new rig, can it play Minecraft? You know what? If this can't play Minecraft, something went terribly wrong. Thank you so much, Clifton. 16-bit member for 5 months. It's awesome, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so glad those messages finally work. The members' milestone messages. All right, let's follow BD a little bit. So I'm definitely an OT baby. I'm original trilogy. I grew up with it. We went through that really long period of time not having any new Star Wars. And nice, Steve. Thank you so much. 6 months and 8-bit member here at Matcave Gaming. Love it. Absolutely love it. The Stanley says Star Wars Special Editions on VHS around my cousins was the first time. Nice. Yeah, the Special Edition, actually, I should mention that before the prequels. So that was a great time as well. Now, say what you will about the Special Editions, but that was a chance for so much of the fandom to actually get to see those films in the theaters. That was the first time I got to see A New Hope in theaters. And yes, it was the special edition, so obviously it was, you know, the changes that George Lucas made to those films. But overall, it's still the movie. Yo, Scotty and Chillin', 8-bit member, 16 member, 4 months for Scotty, 6 months for Chillin'. Thank you so much, dude. Black Dragon says, I must look good. You're 16 years younger than me, yet you have more gray hair than me. Yo, dude, I started going gray in my early 20s. Runs in my family. The nice thing is that if things run consistent, I should continue to have a decent head of hair my whole life, hopefully. But I will continue to go salt and pepper, and then eventually all the way gray. I love it. Darth Maximus, yo, 6 months, 8-bit member. This is awesome. I'm not hearing the sound for the alerts. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm not hearing them. Yeah, Savage Blood Dragon. Yeah, it's awesome. That's all good. It's all good. I've embraced it. I've embraced the gray. So yeah, the special editions of the original trilogy came out in 1997, and I got to go to the theaters and see these films, and on the big screen, seeing A New Hope on the big screen. I mean, watching that Death Star battle and everything, it just was unbelievable. And then getting to see Empire Strikes Back, my favorite film of all time, and then of course Return of the Jedi. And then I'll never forget picking up the VHS trilogy set of the special edition. I bought it from Toys R Us, and it came in that like gold package. I had the full frame edition, the 4x3 edition, where it had the pan and scan, and it wasn't until a few years later that I got my hands on a copy of the widescreen editions on VHS. But it was such an amazing time, because at that point these special editions came out, but we already knew that the prequels were coming. Or at least we knew a new Star Wars was coming. If I remember correctly, things were a little up in the air still of where it was going to take place. I don't think we really found out fully that it was going to be prequels until very close to the films coming out. And being able to go to the theaters and see a brand new Star Wars film for the very first time, like everybody seeing a brand new Star Wars film for the very first time, was one of the most amazing moments in history. It brought so many people together. Everyone was united. The fandom was united. Now, look, the fan base split quite a bit with Phantom Menace. Understandably so. I really love Phantom Menace. I enjoy all the prequels. I really love Phantom Menace. But it split the fandom. But not to a point where it was becoming ridiculously aggressive or just stupid, for really lack of a better term. It just things are stupid right now. Come on, we can all admit that. But you know, say what you will about Phantom Menace, but we were still excited. We knew we were getting more. We knew we had more Star Wars coming. A brand new trilogy was coming, and it was time for us to really celebrate that. It was time for us to come together again like we did in the 80s and the early 90s. Just this love for this lore, this amazing story set in a galaxy far, far away. And then we found out the prequels were about Darth Vader when he was a kid, and that's just incredible. We get all this crazy backstory we never knew, and we get to see it on the big screen together. The prequels were an amazing leap in technology for filmmaking.
Still feel the excitement.
Oh, he's sensing everything through the Force. Love that. Just like the original trilogy was, George Lucas again changed the way people made movies with these prequels. Phantom Menace pushed the bar. It raised the bar again. And then he did it again with Episode 2. With the digital filming. And then Revenge of the Sith is just one of the best movies ever. Revenge of the Sith is incredible. Not just as a Star Wars film, just as a film. Revenge of the Sith is phenomenal. When we got to see Anakin versus Obi-Wan, that fight on Mustafar, oh man. I just rewatched that the other day, actually, the fight. There's so much emotion in that fight between those two characters. The performance of Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor is just next level. Oh, look at this. We're using a red lightsaber as a flashlight. It's incredible. And it was heartbreaking. These are characters that we just loved. And that fight, I was watching it the other night. Watching Master and Apprentice, watching what they might as well be brothers. Watching these two fight to what would have been the death. And one of the things that popped in my head was, holy crap, this is the fandom right now. That fight on Mustafar, Obi-Wan versus Anakin, the emotion in it, the hatred, the passion, the fear, everything that was in that fight is the fandom right now. We are going through our own Mustafar battle right now. And at the end of the day, the end of that fight is not good for anyone. It's not good for anyone. No matter which side wins, it's awful. It's just awful. And I couldn't help but think. It was a thought that got stuck in my head. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to get back into some Star Wars gaming and sit down and talk some Star Wars with you guys. But being a fan that grew up with the original trilogy and getting a brand new trilogy for what was really my generation and the generation right after, that became the new set of Star Wars for people. And even though the trilogies are very different from each other, we were able to still come together on common ground. We all love Star Wars. And it was more of a fun, like, mess with each other sort of thing. Like, messing with, like, oh, you love the prequels, you suck. Or, oh, you love the OT, they're boring. You know, like, whatever it was, whatever side it was, you just kind of gave each other crap, but it was more in, like, a playful manner. An amazing portrayal of that is the movie Fanboys. I don't know if you guys ever saw Fanboys. If you haven't, go check it out. It's about a group of friends. It's 1999. It's like a month before Phantom Menace is coming out in theaters, and they're come up with a plan for a reason. I won't spoil it, but they come up with a plan that they're going to travel across the country, break into Skywalker Ranch, and try to steal a copy of the movie to see it. If you've never seen Fanboys, do yourself a huge favor and go watch Fanboys. It is amazing. But when you see it, when you see the dynamic between this group of friends and the passion they have for this franchise, it makes you remember. It makes you remember what it was like to just be happy being a fan of all of this and enjoying it. And, you know, then you come out of it and you get zapped right back into reality, and we are here where we're at, and shortly I will talk about my thoughts on the current state of Star Wars, but right now we're going to take on this frog thing right here, because there's an ability right there that I want to get. So we're going to jump into a little bit of gameplay here again. Guys, we're going to get back into the Star Wars discussion, but guys, let me know in chat. I'm going to catch up on chat too shortly, but let me know how you guys are feeling about, you know, Star Wars in general. What are your memories of seeing the original trilogy for the first time? What is your memories of the prequels? Are you a fan of the prequels? Do you hate them? Do you like the OT better? Do you like the prequels better? Man, that's sick. I love the lightsaber combat in this. I kind of want to, like, you know, gauge the temperature of the room here, right? And we're going to check that poll as well to see how we're turning out, to see how people are feeling about the franchise overall. But it's been an amazing few decades being a fan of this franchise. And to have any type of discourse in it and have really just hate, overwhelming the whole thing, it's really sad. It's tough to go through, and there's content creators that, you know, obviously, you know, talk about Star Wars. Some channels based completely on Star Wars that have heard, you know, both sides of it and have dealt with both sides of the fandom in multiple ways. Over the years. You know, Star Wars Theory, for example, is quite literally the biggest Star Wars channel out there on YouTube, and rightfully so. This guy's been doing this for a long time. I remember watching early on with his theory videos back about Snoke and everything like that, and I fell in love with the channel, and I still watch it to this day. And then I found other Star Wars related channels over the years. I got Echo Base Network, I got the Star Wars Obsession. You know, there's so many channels out there that cover Star Wars, and I've watched so many of them. And to get different points of view, that's the thing I love about this franchise, is that you can look at it from so many different points of view, and that's one of the things I love to do. That's why I love to hear other people's opinions about it, see how they're feeling about it. You know, when a new show comes out, what did you think of that episode? You know, how did it land for you? What did you think of this moment? And it's never in a way, I never go into it to, it's never an intent to attack or anything like that, right? I truly want to know what you thought about it, because I'm actually hoping you saw it differently than I did. I'm hoping that we disagree, because that opens up a whole nother world. It opens up another point of view, and I want to see it from that point of view, because maybe there's something I overlooked, or maybe there's something you overlooked, and it's a way to like enlighten each other, right? And you find a way to have an amazing conversation, then it gets the juices flowing, man. It's such a great thing it's such a great thing to disagree, honestly. It creates great discussions, it creates debates, it creates interesting moments in the fandom. And when it's done respectfully, it's amazing. It's incredible. But when it's done fueled by hate and hostility, and that's the only thing that's driving it, that sucks. That whole thing sucks. There's lots of stuff I don't bother watching now sometimes. Like, it just depends on what it is. Like, I gotta be in the mood sometimes for it. I gotta have the patience to want to deal with some of the things that go on in the fandom. You know, if I want to get an update on the latest that's coming out, I pick and choose where I'm getting that information from, but at the same time, I also kind of want to hear it from all different places, because people have different sources, and at the end of the day, it's all like rumors anyway, so, you know, you never know for sure until something's actually coming out. But that's more in the realm of, you know, what's finally happening. Sith Apple actually just mentioned, yeah, I saw this post from Theory. Nick Gillard is actually working with him as the stunt coordinator for Vader 2 and 3, his fan project that he's working on. That's amazing. If you guys don't know Nick Gillard, he was the stunt coordinator and the lightsaber master, basically, the swordsmith, that worked with George Lucas on the prequels. This guy is a freaking legend. And if he's bringing his style to all this, that's going to be amazing. George Lucas furious gross. Yeah, I mean, even like going back to the prequels, people, you know, this is George Lucas, obviously, right? But he had other people helping him with writing the stories and doing the screenplays. Same thing happened with the original trilogy. This all was never 100% George. The closest to 100% was the original film, and even there were other people involved with it. But the closest to full George was the original. After that, there's a lot of hands stirring that pot. There's a lot of creative people that are involved with this saga, and always have been. And it's, you know, like, my favorite film in the franchise is Empire Strikes Back. That wasn't directed by George Lucas. In fact, a lot of the screenplay wasn't even done by George. Irvin Kershner directing it, and what's his name, Kasdan, writing the screenplay. This is, you know, obviously it has to all go through George, but it wasn't all him, and that's the thing I think some people start to forget. And I think the way it's portrayed in a lot of ways, people think that's, you know, newer fans think, oh, it was all 100% George for everything. And it's like, no, it really wasn't. It was the teamwork that made it great. And I, you know, to this day, I still prefer the first 6 films over everything else. And that's my personal preference. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the other things. I know people are I know the big thing anyone would want to hear about is what I think about current Star Wars. So that I want to dive into that right after this moment. I want to go to this lightsaber bench. I want to see if we can customize this Sith lightsaber. And then we're going to dive into current day Star Wars, or at least the start of the Disney regime over Lucasfilm, and how I felt about it when it first happened, how I felt about it as it started going, and how I feel about it now. And that's where we're going to go into... that's where I'm going to go into detail. And we may jump to a full screen for that because it's a lot. We've definitely gone through a bunch of the game here. You know, we're early on it, obviously, but like I said, this was more like a tech demo to see how this machine handles this. But I do want to see this. I really want to know
That was pretty brave.
if I can customize this Sith lightsaber. I don't know for sure if it'll let me.
I can help you with that.
So let's try this out. Plus, we get a little more BD1, right? Who doesn't love BD1? Guys, go check it out if you haven't. This happened a little while back. It's on the Star Wars Obsession channel. He did a stream, the replay should be there, he did a stream of building BD1 out of Legos. It's awesome. It came out so good. That BD1 Lego set is phenomenal. Look at this little guy. Love it.
The vault.
He's so cool.
Yeah, that's where I was headed too.
I gotta say, this,
First we got
BD's got a boo-boo. Right? That's a deep cut, Sky. I went back a little bit. Alright, let's go to the customized lightsaber bench, guys. This was one of the coolest features of this game. And I want to see if we can do this. So here we go. Color is set to Cal's Red Inquisitorius Crystal. Does it even let me... It does let me change it. Okay, but we're keeping the red. Can I change the emitter? I want to make a sick looking... Oh my god, we can, guys. We can. We can. Chillin says, I'd say this rig is doing the business quite well. Yes, it is. Sabersmith says, I have that Lego set. He hangs out with Lego Dobby. That's fantastic. Oh my god, they're probably about the same size. Alright, I want to make like a sick looking Sith-style lightsaber. So let's take a look at the emitters here. And we may jump back as we find better better versions. I'll give it a little rotation. And we could change the coloring too. I want it to be kind of dark. I want this thing to be like nasty looking. Let's see. What do we got here? What's going to be an awesome emitter for a Sith lights? I kind of like this one here. Power and Control. This one's called. Interesting name as well. Passion and Strength. I like the Power and Control better. Ooh, look at this design on there. Oh, that's nice. Elemental Nature. Okay, I gotta keep that one in mind. That looks sick. Duty and Resolve. Oh man, there's some really good choices. That's classic, like Luke Skywalker. That's fantastic. Oh my god, look at that thing. Oh, I think we may have just found our winner right here. Magus. Is that a character? Is that a Sith? Oh, here's Seer's emitter. Protection and defense. That's not about a Sith. Protection and defense too. Look at this thing. I think I have to go with this emitter. It's got to look aggressive and fierce, right? Yeah, Malgus is the name I'm thinking of. So what is Magus? Or Magus? Magus is the guy in this game. Oh, is he the traveler on Dathomir? Is this his saber? I think I gotta go with this emitter, guys. That's sick. Okay, let's move over to the Switch. Now, is there a match? Oh, that looks nice. I'm gonna change the coloring. Oh wait, why'd the emitter change? So, oh, there we go. I didn't apply it. Okay. Let's go into the Switch. That looks pretty cool. To go with that. We're gonna adjust color. Yeah, I want something like really... this is called Peace and Justice? That's not Sith. Like Valor and Wisdom? Heck no. We need something nasty looking. Power and Control. That could work. That's very reminiscent of parts of Luke's lightsaber in Return of the Jedi. Passion and Strength. Ooh. We may have to go with that one. Passion and strength. Let's keep that in mind. Protection and defense. 1 and 2. This is Sears switch. So is this mag... Oh, this is the other end that actually goes with it. It gets thin on the neck there. That is cool looking, but I don't know, like that. Oh. Cordova's switch. Actually looks pretty cool with that also. And then you got the leather bound. This is the one, duty and resolve. We looked at the switch for that before. So all these have like a matching side to it. But I think I like this passion and strength one that goes with this. Well, it doesn't go with that switch, but I think I like it with it. And we're gonna play with the color on there too. So let's attach that. Let's go to the sleeve. Actually, I'm gonna jump over to passion and strength. That's what goes along with the switch. And then where's Magus? Oh, yes. See, I like that it's rigid. I want this thing to look like it's painful to use it. Because that's like a Sith's existence is about building that hate, and pain is a big part of that. Usually their master ends up putting them through pain to build that hate and build up their power. And having it like rigid like that looks like that would actually be painful to use. Okay, let's jump over to the material now. This is where you change the coloring of it. So right now we're on an alloy metal. You can make it like a dark gold here. I want it to be dark. That's pretty sick right there, actually. Just a little bit of reflection on it. Let's see what else. I want to look at the other darker colors. Polished bronzium. We can make it red. Like a blood saber. That's kind of cool. Yeah, the symbol turned black. Yeah, I don't want it to be gold. That's kind of funky looking. Oh, ooh. I like this. Crodium. It looks like it's stained in blood. Oh, I think we found a winner, guys. Black and yellow on my level. I think this might be the winner right here, guys. This like dark blood red with hints of gold. And it's got that like dirty finish to it. This thing looks nasty. I think this is the winner right here. I think that looks good. Oh my god. You did that with the orange blade? Nice. I'm gonna look at the remaining colors here real quick. We definitely don't want a pink and purple one. That's very gold. Well, that's very like High Republic sort of deal right there. Very pink. Ooh, that's really dark. And that's very gold. I gotta say, this one right here, that looks nasty. This looks like it's... This lightsaber right here? This lightsaber right here is seeing some shit. Let's lock that in. Alright. We're gonna bust it out. Here we go. Oh my god, look at that thing. No, we gotta look at that more. Hey, take it out, take it out. Why is he not holding it up? That's weird. I guess I can't keep the lightsaber out in this room? That's we'll go in the other room and look at it. We got a $2 super chat from Chillin' in the Basement. Says, sweet saber, gotta dip, much love. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, this saber came out awesome. Thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Did the alert come up on the screen? I don't know what's going on with these alerts, but thank you so much, my friend. I really, really appreciate it.
BD, that's a little small for me. Don't worry.
Let's see if we can take the lightsaber out here. There we go. Let's see if we can get a good view of this. Oh, he puts it away, like, right away. I broke your pots! Oh, that looks awesome.
Tight fit, but this should work.
That looks sick. I really like that a lot. That is awesome. Alright, we need a save point, actually, before we dive into our discussion time here, guys. So let me grab a save point real quick. There's one coming up. Let's get up here. Alrighty. And then... Oh yeah, we get a little cutscene here moment. Oh, man. But we gotta learn about getting medical stims.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah, with it on the table, you can rotate the whole thing. I just kind of wanted to see it in action there a little bit. Look good, though. I gotta say, I love this Inquisitor outfit on Cal Kestis. And, man, that I think that lightsaber came out sick.
That's better. Thanks, little droid.
Alan, I missed your member chat? No way.
Oh,
I gotta find it.
okay.
I gotta find it.
Here, hop on board.
I found it.
How'd you get here?
I found it on my phone. I gotta fix the pop-up chat.
Don't remember?
Captain
never know if
Caveman
we're
and the
getting
Cave Dwellers, may the force be
argue
with
with that.
you. Alan Copeland, 16-bit member for 4 months. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. That is awesome. I just found out that on the YouTube app on my phone, I can filter the chat to a section called Fan Funding, and it shows all the supers and member chats. That's awesome. Yes, Stanley's. I messed up. Sabersmith says, I like to see Cal in some High Republic robes. Gold would look great with Cal's hair. In Jedi Survivor, you can go nuts with customizing Cal Kestis. With the wardrobe and his hair and a beard and all kinds of stuff. It's awesome. Jedi Survivor is another one that I definitely got to get back into on the channel as well. Just drop something. But,
That's where we need to go. I can feel it.
yeah, Jedi Survivor took this into like a whole new level. It's just great. Alright, where's the save point? It's the meditation spots are where we need to get. Look at those Zepho statues. Love the Zepho stuff.
You mapped everywhere we've been.
Good job, BD. Alright, this is another little map tutorial. Go up and down the levels. They really improved the map in Jedi Survivor as well. It really is.
We gotta find another way.
Jedi Survivor is a great sequel. They overall, just not only for the story, but for just gameplay and how it functions. They really amped it up. It's awesome. Alright, I want to get to right over there, right? Yeah. Alright, let's save here, because I wanna talk to you guys about current day Star Wars, my thoughts on the sequels, and as well as what I did with the my fan edits of the sequel trilogy and why I did it. So let's get into it, guys. Let's go nuts with this. I'm gonna move away from the screen here. I gotta bring that up just to move the mouse onto another part of the screen. But all right, bear with me a second, guys. I'm going to get this set up so that we can talk some more Star Wars. In the meantime, in case you missed it at the beginning, I'm going to replay this cutscene that I made for the video. So I'll be right back with you guys in just a short minute.
The Jedi Order has fallen. 5 years have passed since Order 66. The remaining Jedi are scattered throughout the galaxy. The Sith have regained their place of power.
Alright, guys, let's talk some Star Wars. I'm just moving some stuff out of the way here on the screen so that I can take a look at a couple of things here. But let's talk some Star Wars, guys. That game looked great, by the way. I am so happy with how this turned out, with how the game is playing on this system. It's something that oh, look at that. I'm jittery when I closed out the game. It's something I've been wanting to test these games out like crazy ever since grabbing this new machine over the weekend. And I've been installing a bunch of stuff like crazy. And just like Star Wars games were the ones that I was going to right away. Battlefront 2 looks phenomenal on this machine. I played some of that. It just looks incredible. I hope this came through on the stream and did it justice the way I'm seeing it on my monitor here. And we didn't even push it all the way to 4K. We were at 1440p, and that resolution was looking phenomenal. We amped up everything to epic on the settings for the game, and it just looks great. So I am thrilled with that. But guys, I want to jump into talking about some of this stuff here when it comes to the sequel trilogies, the Disney Star Wars era. I want to talk about how I'm feeling about this. And I was saying earlier that with the fandom being split and people really being like at each other's throats, it's an unfortunate thing that I don't think it had to be, and I think we can still come back from it. That's the thing. I have my hope that it's gonna be all right, but we'll see. Time will tell, and there's a lot of things being announced. The Stanleys makes a really good point here. Says they need to stop announcing new projects unless they've actually started production or filming. So that's one of the big things where I'm landing right now, is that I really don't believe in anything that's being said is coming until we get like a teaser trailer. Like, show me something of it. I don't want to see a sketch on a piece of paper. You show me something filmed. Show me footage. And then I'm going to allow myself to get really, really hyped for something, because I'm going to check it all out. But guys, when Disney took over Star Wars, I was actually very excited. I was really excited. And I think, honestly, I think a lot of people were too. Because I grew up with Disney. I grew up with amazing Disney films and shows and so much stuff that just I was a big Disney fan. I loved it. Sabersmith, good to see you, man. I appreciate you coming by. Yeah, I'll probably separate this into 2 separate videos or something like that on the back end. Black Train says, "Don't touch the battery to your tongue." What? I don't know what I missed. Yeah, it's when Disney took over, I was really excited because I knew eventually George Lucas was gonna retire from it, and it was just inevitable. And Disney being as big of a company as it is, and how much amazing stuff they've done over the years, I was like, wow, this is great. It's going to go into really good hands, and we're going to see some amazing stuff come from it. And in all honesty, it started out pretty good. We got Rogue One was, in my opinion, a great film. It was darker in tone than things we've had in the past, but being that it was a film that took place between the prequels and the original trilogy, not only taking place in between, but literally leads up to the opening crawl of A New Hope. Like I watch those movies back to back. Like I finish Rogue One, I jump right into A New Hope, and I love it. It just blends so well. And Rogue One was really well done. I have my own little issues with that as well. I could say that about really any of the films or shows, in all honesty. Rogue One, as much as I enjoyed that film, I never got fully attached to the characters in that film like I did with the original trilogy or the prequels. Which I guess kind of makes sense too, because we all know how Rogue One ends, and well, I mean, this was it. You're knowing these characters for this long, and that's it. So I guess maybe it was done in that way on purpose, where you're not really going to feel too attached to them. Some of the acting in it I thought was hit or miss. A lot with Jyn Erso, some with Andor, but for the most part, Cassian Andor was a really cool character. I liked his character a lot. Angelina's asking, did you hear that the Rey movie is canceled or delayed? So I did hear. I heard all the announcements of that, varying in range and quickly changing within a short span of time, which is another reason why I say I'm not going to get too hyped for anything until they show me something real, until they show something that is tangible. I'm not going to get too hyped about it, because why bother? There's been so many things announced that never came through, and it was such a mess. But it started off strong, and I've had very high hopes for it. And then when we eventually got episode 7, it got announced that we're getting the next trilogy. My favorite scene, Black Dragon says, was "Congratulations, you're being rescued." I love that moment. K2SO was one of my favorite characters from that movie. He was fantastic. I was actually really disappointed that we didn't get the actual K2SO in the first season of Andor. Oh, excuse me. But I think we're going to see him in the second season. But he was really cool. K2SO was very awesome. See, the movie was a darker tone, Rogue One, but it did have moments of, a little bit of comedy. It had moments of, a little bit of levity on the dark tone to it, because it was very dark. The story is very sad. It's just like, it's a depressing story overall, but it was done really well. What's up, Brandon? Good to see you, my friend. Obsession is back. What's up, dude? We really started strong at the beginning of Disney taking over Star Wars. And then with the announcement of the new trilogy, we were getting 7, 8, and 9. We were getting the sequel trilogy that, in all honesty, we were all talking about sequel trilogy back in the 90s. Even late 80s. I mean, the talk of seeing another Star Wars movie went on for decades. And I'll embarrass myself right now. I'll go ahead and do it. I have it'll never be seen, but I have on a VHS tape a copy of, well, me and my friends, we decided as kids we were going to make our own episode 7. And this is going back to the 90s, guys. So a little handheld, camcorder, and we filmed a bunch of stuff. We went out to Home Depot and bought rakes and brooms and took the handles off and painted them and put the, grips on them, and they became lightsabers, and it was all this stuff. We made our own, well, we started to make our own episode 7. It never finished, but that's how far back the want for a sequel trilogy was. There was talks of a sequel trilogy for ages, and so many ideas of what it could be. And by that point, there were so many stories. Dragon says a Discord watch party. No, I can never bring that to light. It's like the holiday special. It can't be watched. But it's one of those things that as fans, we all had thoughts of what it could be. We had dreams about it. There were expanded universe stories being written that could become the sequel trilogy. Tons of stories that take place after Return of the Jedi, following not only our main heroes from the original trilogy, but new characters that we got to meet along the way. And there was so much stuff coming from there. So when we finally got the official announcement that it's coming, the sequel trilogy is happening, how could you not be excited? It was becoming a reality, something that by then I just thought it was never going to happen, but now it was finally happening. And then we start to hear rumors that the heroes of the original trilogy, Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, R2, 3PO, they're coming back. They're coming back. We didn't hear anything about Lando, though, but that's a whole nother story, which is really messed up. Lando got shafted on this whole thing, but that's a whole other story. But we were getting our heroes back. They were coming back for a sequel trilogy. Now, it's been all these years. So along with this anticipation and this excitement, this hype, there was concern. I think we all shared a very common concern, because this was a movie that got announced and was coming out in Force Awakens was what, 2015? Our heroes, the actors that portrayed them, they were getting up there in age. So the big question was, well, how much will they be in these films? How much of this film will be about those characters? What kind of new characters are we going to see? Are we going to get a passing of the torch? Are we getting into a whole new generation? It was all very questionable. It was exciting, but it was also terrifying. We didn't know what to expect. And then the first teaser trailer came out. And I watched this trailer recently again. And I would say to anyone, no matter what you think of the sequel trilogy, no matter how you feel about Force Awakens in particular, go watch the trailer again. The teaser trailer that first came out, and then the full trailer that followed it. Watch those again. And I dare you not to get excited. My hairs on my arms were standing up. I was getting hyped. I was getting amped up again. And I already know the movie, and I've seen it countless times by now. But the trailer was done right. It gave just enough where it was like, oh my God, okay, we definitely have new characters, but there's hints. There's talk of Luke. In one of the trailers, we actually see Han and Chewie. The whole Chewie, we're home moment. I mean, it almost brought me to tears watching that trailer again. And that's now. That's watching it now. And it goes to show you how important tone and editing is in not just the film itself, but in the trailers. When you do a trailer right and it gets across that emotion, that's incredible. That is, not every film trailer does that, but when it does it right and it lands, it is great. And then we got Force Awakens. Now, what do I think about Force Awakens? Out of the 3 films in the sequel trilogy, The Force Awakens is my favorite one of those 3. It is a film that I overall really, really enjoyed. That said, I was very disappointed in the limited use of the heroes of the original trilogy, the heroes I grew up with. Yes, of course, they were in it. You know, Luke only got one moment at the very end of the film, but Leia was in it, Han was in it, Chewie was in it, 3PO and R2, well, sort of R2. R2 kind of got shafted as well, but they were in it. The movie wasn't about them. There was no real passing of a torch, and other than Han and Chewie, you know, Han and Chewie were together the most. Han and Chewie see Leia and 3PO, but they're never with Luke. Luke, Han, and Leia. That's like that trio never came together. 3PO with the red arm. Yes, that was, I actually like that moment. He was like, "You might not recognize me because of the arm." I thought that was funny. Anthony Daniels as 3PO. He's a legend. I love it. I like the silliness that comes with that character. That's how he was in the originals also. So he was perfect. 3PO was spot on. But knowing a bunch of the expanded universe and how these characters interacted after Return of the Jedi and not getting anything like that, I didn't want it to mimic the, you know, and tell the exact thing from the expanded universe. I wanted something new, but something similar would have been nice. Yeah, never on screen together. And Leia snubbed Chewie at the end of Han's death. Yes, which is actually something that in my fan edit I sort of fix. I'll get into that in a little bit. I'm going to take you guys through the changes I made. It's something that I think is worth talking about, and I'm very happy with how it came out. But the film overall, though, I did enjoy it. And that ending with Rey seeing Luke on that island and just ending with her handing the lightsaber to him. And when they get that large aerial shot and it's panning around the island and then credits. And that was it. And we had to wait 2 years before we got to find out what happens next. And those 2 years were probably the most pivotal moment. I can't speak today. Let's use a different word. Probably the most important moment in the sequel trilogy era for the fandom. The 2 years between Force Awakens and The Last Jedi changed the fandom forever. In fact, that 2-year period between 2015 and 2017 literally created many of the channels you watch today on YouTube. Because it was a time of theories. It was a time of what if. It was a time of, hey, I bet this will happen. Or, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if this happens? It was the fans coming together and speculating on what could possibly happen in episode 8. This time period was so important to the fandom, and I think it's overlooked at this point. I don't think enough people give this time period credit. There are so many content creators out there today that are gigantic now because of this time frame. Star Wars Theory is one of them. The biggest Star Wars YouTuber on the planet and he had the fan theories going on during this time frame and speculating on what could happen, and then getting, looking into stuff that potentially leaked and what could be happening with new characters. And it created what his channel is today. And it's amazing. That is amazing. And I remember watching so many channels talk about this stuff, and I got hooked. I got hooked on hearing these fan theories. It felt like when I was a kid again. It felt like talking with my friends and talking about all the stuff, that could happen after the movies, and things we read and stories. And it just was so much fun. And it was such an amazing time to be a fan of Star Wars. The fandom came together. Yes, then we got Mike Zero, which is just, I mean, look, I think we've all watched our share of Mike Zero videos as well. But it was during this time frame that, I found other channels as well that just, oh man, it was such an amazing time for not just the franchise, but for the fandom. Now, there were plenty of people that did not like The Force Awakens. The biggest complaint that was happening at the time was that many people were saying that it was just a copy and paste of A New Hope, that it was just a rehash of A New Hope. Personally, I don't think that it is. There are throwbacks to it. There are mimicked styles in there and a similar pacing. But if you go back and watch that film, it really does stand on its own, but it has a certain level of that nostalgia that makes you think of A New Hope, and that was done on purpose. I feel like it had to happen. I feel like if it didn't happen, the film wouldn't have worked. This sequel trilogy needed to start strong, and it needed to not only bring in new fans, it needed to keep the existing fans. So you needed this nostalgia element to it. It was so important. Now, that said, there were things that happened in that film that were very lazy and were just basically rehashing A New Hope, obviously. Like Starkiller Base, for example. Was just another Death Star. So it was Death Star 3. That shouldn't have happened, in my opinion. That should have been something else. That could have been anything else. Just not another Death Star. We didn't need that. So yes, there are plenty of weaknesses that go with that film. But even still, overall, I did enjoy The Force Awakens. And the lead up to The Last Jedi was probably the most exciting time I had felt in the Star Wars fandom since the late 90s waiting for Phantom Menace. I did not feel that again until 2015. Like, it was just insane. Yes, absolutely. Black Dragon says, agreed. Fair point, but Disney screwed the pooch after the first movie. Yes. Here was the problem. Last Jedi is the most talked about film in the sequel trilogy, and for good reason. That is the film that literally split the fandom. That was the moment that everything went sideways. And here's the thing. Last Jedi, as a movie, as a film, standalone, by itself, how does it function as a movie? And yes, actually, I will talk about it, because Solo happened in between, right? Oh, no, Solo happened after Last Jedi, right? I think I'm trying to confirm my timeline here. But Last Jedi was this insane moment that all it took was the first. It wasn't the opening scene. It was the second moment when we get to the island after the opening, which the opening of that film is pretty exciting. I think we can all agree on that. The opening of that film is very exciting. And a really solid opening. Except for the mom jokes. The Poe doing mom jokes to what's his name, was not needed. It didn't need that at all, and in my edits, I took that out. But it's the opening still. I was getting excited. I was like, okay, cool. We're seeing the resistance. We're getting things going against the First Order. But the whole time I'm sitting there in the theater, and I'm like, okay, let's just please, for the love of God, get to Luke. Get to that island. I need to see what happens next. I have been waiting for this. I want to see Luke train Rey. I want to see the Jedi training happening on this island. I want to see this like new version of what we got on Dagobah. But now Master Luke Skywalker is going to be the master. He's going to be teaching her the ways of the Force. I could not wait. I was on the edge of my seat that entire time. And yes, the opening of that film was very exciting, but I was starting to not care because all I wanted was to get back to that moment and get back to Luke. And then we did. And then we got back to the island, and it picks up right where we left off. And I was thrilled. The excitement level was at just, my heart was in my throat. Hairs are standing up on me. I'm sweating. I am at a peak level of excitement. Everything was just, there was nothing else in the world at that moment. I had the blinders on. I was in this. The only thing that existed in that world at that time was this moment on that island with Luke Skywalker and Rey, his new Padawan. And then the thing that damn near the thing that happens next is what broke the fandom. Yes, there's other things, and we'll talk about that, but this is the moment. This is the moment. Rey hands the lightsaber to Luke. He takes the lightsaber with his robotic hand, which was so cool looking. He has it in his hands. He's looking down at this lightsaber hilt that he has not seen in many years. This was the lightsaber he lost in Empire Strikes Back. This was his father's lightsaber. This was Anakin's lightsaber that was passed down to him through Obi-Wan Kenobi, but still, it was passed down to him. This was honestly the most important lightsaber in the entire saga. And he has it in his hands. And we're just all waiting there, guys. We're all on the edge of our seat. What is he going to say? What is he going to say to her? And then the music. We got the hint a split second before it happened. The music reaches a bit of a peak, and then just the music crumbles. And in that moment, the music crumbling was the start, and you didn't know it yet, but it was the start of your heart breaking. And Luke gives this look, all of a sudden, of disgust, of anger. And then with the cockiest look on his face, he throws the lightsaber over his shoulder and walks away. I've said this before on other streams. I've referred to it, the peak level of excitement that I was at that moment. And the fall from there was incredible. It was, I'm here. And then I'm instantly down to the ground. I didn't know what I just saw. Did I see that correctly? What just happened? What did he just do? This is coming off of prequels, right? That's Obi-Wan makes a huge point to not just Anakin, but to the audience. This weapon is your life. He explains how important the lightsaber is to a Jedi in that brief moment. And that all gets literally thrown away in that moment. And the problem with that moment was my entire experience of the rest of the film was damaged. It physically hurt to keep going and watch the rest of the film. I couldn't get it out of my head. Now, obviously, we get explanation of why Luke was acting the way he did. And look, I know a lot of people hate the way Luke was portrayed in that film. I am one of them. But I also, there are things in that portrayal of him that are, it's still Luke in there. There's moments. There's moments. And it took a lot of rewatches for me to really find it. And, which is unfortunate because it shouldn't take that. But him throwing away the lightsaber was too much. If he just walked away, still with the lightsaber, or at least handed it back to Rey, that would have been so much better. I think we all still would have sat there like confused, like, well, what's going on? You know, and then we learn what Luke went through and why he is the way he is by the time we see him in this film. But what broke the fandom was literally that lightsaber being tossed over his shoulder and him walking away from it. That was the moment. And whether you love the sequels or not, I think everyone can agree that that was the moment that broke the fandom. Racing Palpatine says, Force Awakens, I'm going into hiding. Here's a map to find me if needed. The Last Jedi, what are you doing here? Yeah, it was, the whole thing about the map was weird too, but not at first though. Not at first. The map made perfect sense until The Last Jedi. And here's why. Here's why. The Force Awakens set up an amazing story. Han Solo tells us it when he's talking to Rey and Finn. He tells us that Luke went missing because he was searching for the first Jedi temple. Luke was on a mission. He was searching for an ancient Jedi temple. That's awesome. So yeah, build a map along the way. That'll be fantastic because you're going to want to be able to get students there, right? You're going to want to build up the Jedi Order. You're going to want to have your academy. You're going to want to have all this stuff, right? The map made perfect sense until The Last Jedi happened. There was nothing wrong with that map. But then the film changed hands. The franchise changed hands in writing and directing. It went from J.J. Abrams as director to Rian Johnson. And Rian Johnson was given free will to do really whatever he wanted with it, from what we understand, what I've heard in, different articles and interviews and stuff. At the end of the day, honestly, I'll never truly know how much power he was given to it. No one will. All the stuff that people think they know, you don't really know. You don't really know. You weren't there. You're not part of that industry. You're not in it. You're not there. You weren't in Lucasfilm. You weren't talking with Kathleen Kennedy. You weren't talking with anybody. You weren't talking with Ryan J. You don't know. We just can speculate a little bit based off of rumors and parts of interviews and things like that, and we try to piece it together. But that's the best we can do with that stuff. The problem is that the film is so disconnected from Force Awakens that they don't line up anymore. They don't connect. So now the trilogy is broken, and we didn't even get to 9. But the trilogy is already broken at this point because the story didn't technically continue from where it left off. It's as if a different episode 7 happened that we never saw. And then that's what we continued off of, like an alternate world. There's a parallel universe somewhere where there's another version of episode 7 where it all fits and it all works. And the sequel trilogy is fantastic, but we're not in that universe. If they would have kept it consistent, this would have worked really well. Now, Last Jedi has some really good stuff in it, guys. The film itself is not terrible. And this, look, I didn't like it because of what happened in the story. But the film itself is not terrible. And there's things in it that I rewatched it so many times. Something kept bringing me back to the film. There was something there. And I kept coming back to it until I decided that, I can't sit here and complain about this anymore. That's what everyone chose to do. Because at the end of the day, what could we do, right? We don't work for Disney. We don't work for Lucasfilm. We're not filmmakers. We're not, we're fans. We wanted the stories that we wanted, and we didn't get it. And there's plenty of people that absolutely love this sequel trilogy, and that's great. I'm actually jealous of that because I wanted to love these films so much. And I kept coming back to them. I own copies of the films. I've watched these films many, many times. And I've certainly gone on my rants, and I have complained about these films, and I've been on other streams where others are also complaining about the films and talking about the things that we didn't like. Also, I've been on streams as well where we discuss the things that we do like, because there is a lot of stuff in these films that are really good. The characters, for example, Rey, Finn, Poe, they all had so much potential. I actually really love their characters. I love their characters. And I just wish that they were treated with more respect. And I wish that they had a better story arc. I think like Kylo Ren, for example, had the best, most complete story arc throughout the whole thing. His character was great. And then him being Ben Solo and all that stuff like that was really good. There's so much good in these films. These films are deeper than a lot of people will even give them credit for. But you have to dig for it. And that's another major problem. And why I had such a problem with it is that there was a lot of extra work that goes into it. And general audiences don't want to put in homework for stuff like that, right? There's a lot of things that came out during the time frame of these films coming out that actually did fill in gaps. A lot of it happened in the comic books. There was a whole series of comics all about Kylo Ren, and it fills in the gap with him turning to the dark side and meeting Snoke and being turned to the dark side by Snoke and learning about him and the Knights of Ren and all this stuff. I think it's like 5 or 6 issues. It's great. It's really great. And it fills in that gap. It just unfortunately wasn't in the films. And most audience members are not reading the comics and looking to fill in those gaps. They expect the movies to tell you the story. And I consider myself, a bigger fan than just the general audience. So I look into these things. I've looked into expanded stuff for Star Wars my whole life. So I saw this as no different. But the difference was that the previous films we got explained things and stories connected. And then this disconnect that was in these is what really hurt the films, in my opinion. But again, these films are not they're not bad as movies. Like they do tell a story. There was so much potential in there that you can see that, as you said, there was, that's the point, potential that was squandered. There was a lot of untapped potential in there, but there was also things that were really well done in the films. And that was something I kept coming back to. I kept asking myself, why do I'll get in the mood. I'm like, I want to watch The Last Jedi. I want to watch Force Awakens. And then I asked myself, why? Why do I want to do that right now? But I do it. I watch it. And I came back to these films many times. And I reached a point. Now, I didn't talk about episode 9 yet. And that's on purpose. I'll get to that in a moment. But the biggest thing was 7 and 8 were where I think the biggest issues exist. When 9 came around, there was a phrase going around all throughout the media, and every article you read had a certain phrase that was in all of it. And it was damage control. And to hear that being said and written about every time they talked about episode 9, it hurt. It hurt. Why does this have to have damage control be part of it? It got really messy. It got really messy. And this was due to a lot of the backlash that happened from The Last Jedi. Okay. This is where I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me on this. And I'm sure you don't agree with me already on many of the things I've said here about the sequels. But I'll say it again. The sequel trilogy is not bad. It's unfortunately missing key elements that could have easily been put into it. But because they had too many different people taking control of writing the story, and instead of wanting to connect them, they wanted to do their own thing, it created a mess. Star Wars said, this is outrageous. It's unfair. Yeah, right. Let's look at Kylo Ren, for example. He's my favorite part of the sequel trilogy. I think he's the most complete character in the whole thing. I think he has a complete story arc where everyone else practically doesn't. But him being the son of Leia and Han, him having that bloodline, the Skywalker bloodline, really, right? He's the grandson of Anakin Skywalker, of Darth Vader. That in itself is such a huge plot line and makes for an amazing character. And Adam Driver's portrayal of this character is phenomenal. Like, all of these actors did a great job. Okay, it's say what you will about what happened in the story or some of the writing in it, but the actors themselves, who have dealt with a lot of grief from this, which really sucks, by the way. That's awful. The actors didn't do anything wrong. They did their job. They were given a script, they were given a story, and they said, this is what you do. You were hired to do this. And they did it. And I think they did really, really well. I think Daisy Ridley was fantastic as Rey. I think John Boyega was awesome as Finn and probably had the most missed potential of all these characters. And then Poe Dameron was such an amazing character that when I talk about Rise of Skywalker, when I talk about Episode 9, there's so much of that film that it needed to have more Poe Dameron in it. Like, there was so much to that. Actually, even I could say the same for in Last Jedi as well. It was like each character didn't have enough room to grow, except for Kylo Ren. He continued to grow which is pretty amazing considering the fact that we recently found out that his entire story arc got changed dramatically. We found out in a recent interview with Adam Driver that Kylo Ren was never supposed to turn to the light. He was supposed to be the opposite of Anakin. He was supposed to be at a struggle with going to the light and going back and forth between the light and dark, and then progress to being darker and darker and darker until we reach the end of the trilogy where he is at his full power as a Sith and be this ultimate villain and not come back to the light. It was an opposite journey. And of Vader, I should say, not of Anakin, of Vader. Start conflicted and then work your way to the dark. Where Vader started, he was dark and then became conflicted and turned back to the light. That was an amazing premise, and I can't believe they didn't go with that. I think that would have been incredible. And then the idea of the Force dyad, the connection between Rey and Ben, between Rey and Kylo. I love that. The reason I love that is because I've already experienced that Force ability, and that happened in Knights of the Old Republic, one of the most critically acclaimed and beloved portions of the Star Wars franchise ever. KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic, is almost unanimously loved by every Star Wars fan. And those who didn't play the game know a bunch about it because Star Wars fans talk about it so much. And in that game, there is a Force dyad. There is a connection between you, the main character, and a character named Bastila. And Bastila is an awesome character. She's a Jedi in there, and she has a connection with the character you play as, where they're literally seeing the same visions, and they're seeing each other in visions. And it's just, it was such a cool idea. And this happened in the early 2000s. I think KOTOR came out in 2002 or 2003. And we got a Force dyad. That was the first time I ever saw that happen. It might have happened in some of the books, but I'm not aware. But it's there. So it shows that when they were writing The Last Jedi, they took that into account. Somebody was a fan. Somebody knew about that and was like, you know what? That's a cool idea. Let's implement this. Let's get that connection. And I thought it was really well done until Rise of Skywalker, where it just jumped the shark and went ridiculous. But that's for later in this story. Last Jedi, in my opinion, is nowhere near as bad as it's made out to be. And I think if people were to give it another chance, I think you would start to see more of the good than the bad. I think at this point the movie has been shunned so much that when people do watch it, they're purposely looking for the bad. They're aiming for it. And when you look for bad, if you go into something looking to hate it, you're going to hate it. That's just how that works. But if you open your mind and are open to letting in more, you can find some good things. And that's why I kept coming back to these movies, specifically The Last Jedi. There was something in it that kept me there, and I wanted to find it. So one day, I sat down and I said, you know what? I don't want to complain about these movies anymore. I don't want to complain about what I didn't get and what I feel like we should have got. I don't want to do that, because if I'm not going to do anything about it, what's the point in complaining? You hear a lot of people like, oh, I would have done this and I could have done that. It's like, well, then do it. If you have the ability, do it. do something about it. I heard it just a side note. I watched a fantastic interview the other day with Sam Witwer. He sat down with Katie Sackhoff. It was Sam Witwer and Katie Sackhoff interviewing each other. It was fantastic. And they started talking about making Star Wars and being in it and what goes into the process of stuff. And Sam Witwer started talking about, just that. People saying, oh, I would have done this and I would have done this better and I would have, changed that and did this. And he's just like, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't have, because you don't know what goes into it. And he starts explaining how this tiny moment in something was made and how much work went into it. And it was insane. Like, you got to watch this interview. It was very recent. It's on Katie Sackhoff's YouTube channel, and she sits down with Sam Witwer. It is a phenomenal video. Go check it out, especially if you're a fan of both of them. Sam Witwer and Katie Sackhoff are awesome. And I hope we get Sam Witwer in live action in some way in Star Wars someday, some way. I don't know. Who knows? We might get the Star Wars What If, and maybe we get Starkiller at that point. That would be awesome. But anyways, I'm off on a tangent. If you're going to complain about it and you say, oh, I would have done this and I would have done that, do it. If you have the ability, do it. And I looked around at what I have at my fingertips. And I said, you know what? I have a computer. I have editing software. I have ideas. Do something about it. Stop complaining. Do something about it. And I said, you know what? I want to love these films so much that I'm willing to recut them. And I did. I sat down and began a project that took me so deep into the sequel trilogy that I couldn't believe how much I now know about those movies and what I've researched into them and how much I've looked into it. It's insane what went into those films. And I wanted to see if I could make a version of the films that I could love, because that was my motivating factor. I wanted to love these films so much that I was so saddened that I didn't. And I am legit jealous of everyone that loves these films. It landed for them, and I wish it landed for me, and it didn't. And it didn't. And I don't give anybody crap for liking the films. I think that's great. That's fantastic. If you like something, you like something. There's nothing wrong with that. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. There's nothing wrong with enjoying something, a film, a movie, a show, whatever, a video game, whatever it is. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. That's just how it turned out, which is awesome. But I had this desire to do something about it. So I sat down and I had a vision, I had an idea, and I rewatched the movies again and again and again and again. And I started taking notes. And as I'm watching these films, I'm watching them not as a story being told, but I'm watching them in moments, in pieces, and thinking of ideas of, well, what if this didn't happen right there? Or what if this scene happened here instead of there? What if I cut that out? Oh, you know what? There were those deleted scenes. What if that deleted scene was put back in the movie? And I busted out the editing software I have. I ripped the movies to my computer and I started editing. And I followed my notes and I started piecing together using what I could, because all I had to work with were the films themselves, the theatrical releases of the films, any bonus material that came with those films on DVD and Blu-ray, any deleted scenes that were released to the public that I could obtain, and then literally anything else from the saga. That's what I had to work with. And I put together a version of this trilogy that I honestly can say that I enjoy and I make a part of my Star Wars viewing marathons when I rewatch the saga. And I know I've been skipping episode 9 here. I started this whole thing with The Last Jedi. My first edit happened with The Last Jedi, and it was rough. This edit was very rough. But I did end up doing a viewing of it on Discord. There were watch parties where a bunch of people, some people of which are here tonight, we did a watch party of it. And it was such an amazing feeling showing that. It was never, my initial intent was never to show it to anybody. I was doing this for myself. I just wanted something that I could enjoy, that I could potentially love. And it was all, I did it in a very selfish way. It was just like, I didn't care so much about how rough it was because I just wanted to get certain points to happen. And then when I finished it, I showed it, and a bunch of people expressed to me that how much they enjoyed it. And I was like, wow, I wonder if I can complete what I'm thinking about doing here. So I went back and I did the same treatment to The Force Awakens. And then after I had Force Awakens and The Last Jedi completed, where I felt that the films flowed together in a way that I enjoyed, I then went to Rise of Skywalker. I went to episode 9, and I took what I did with 7 and 8 and said, okay, I've now put together this vision I had for these. How do I bring it to a conclusion that's all going to flow together? And I'm very happy to say that I think I came up with a version that works pretty well. And I'm looking to set up watch parties in the very near future, and the best way to do this would be on Discord. Obviously, I can't show them on YouTube, but I do want to sit down and have some viewings of these. And the idea of them is to, they're meant to be watched together. Not, you don't have to sit and watch all three back to back to back, but they're meant to be viewed together. Like if you watch this version of 7, watch this version of 8, and then watch this version of 9. And if you guys are up for it, I know it's getting late, but I'm gonna bring it up here. I want to show you the notes that I took for this, because it was it was something that I put a lot of work into. And where is this thing? Here it is. Let me bring this up. Can I zoom in on this? This is, bear with me a second. There we go. I don't know what happened to my Microsoft Word, but it's like missing. Okay. I'm going to bring this up on screen here. Let's see if I can share with you guys what I'm talking about. Let me change screens here. Oh, so many Matcaves. Hey, look. It's not echoing. This is like that moment in the cave with Rey. We got a Matcave Gaming Last Jedi moment going on here. Let me change monitors. Okay. Let's do this. Let's fit this to the screen and get this here that I can share this with everybody. I think it's important to me that people, if you're ever going to view what I did with this trilogy, I want people to understand why I did it, because it's something that it took a lot of work to do this. I'm gonna zoom this in, guys, and make this kind of fit the screen here. But let's make this bigger. Let's make this bigger. Okay. So I'll take you guys through this here and explain to you why I even did this and why I'm even talking about this tonight. And I know I've gone off on rants tonight, and I didn't script any of this, and it's just kind of all over the place. This is all like off the top of my head, type of stuff. And it was just kind of like I had these thoughts in mind and I just had to get them out, You ever get those moments where you're like, I just got to get this, out, and so I can feel better about it. But these are the notes I took as I went through doing these films. And as I wrote it, I wanted to give almost like a mission statement. So the intent of these edits is to allow these 3 films to flow better, connect to each other better, and most of all, allow for character and plot development. These changes make it so that Rey is no longer instantly powerful and capable with the Force. She now grows throughout the films and learns her skills. This is most apparent in The Force Awakens, where she now only uses the Force at the end of the film. Luke is now portrayed in a new way by removing as much of the anger and hate as possible, which results in Luke being more willing to teach Rey, as well as making his reasoning for going into isolation fit better with the saga. These new versions of the films are meant to be watched together and for the audience to unlearn what you have learned, to quote Master Yoda. To try and forget what you know from the theatrical releases and see these films in a new light, as close to seeing the films for the first time as possible. That was my mission going into this, and what I wanted to hopefully succeed in doing. So I broke it out as I worked on the films, and I said before I did The Last Jedi first, but I have this in order here. So let's talk about The Force Awakens. And this is, The Force Awakens has the least work done to it, because I honestly felt like it didn't need much to change in order for it to work with what I did in The Last Jedi. So kind of in order of what I did, I changed the tone in the beginning of the film a little bit. I removed Poe's joke when he's talking to Kylo Ren, when they sit there and they stare at each other for a moment. He's like, who talks first? Do I talk first? Do you talk first? That never landed for me. It always killed that moment for me. It was such a dramatic moment, this insane intro to that film, and it was so badass. And then all of a sudden that happened, and it kind of took me out of it. So I was like, you know what? Just a very quick edit, and that's gone, and it just flows. And I think it worked really well there. I shortened Kylo Ren's freak out when he's bashing apart the computer terminals. He goes on for quite a while with a lot of swings. I counted them. I forget how many times he hit that machine. It was 6 or 7 or 8 times he hits this thing. I cut it down to 1. I cut it down to just a bam. He slams this thing and then tells the officer what needs to be done. And it just kind of brought a bit more of an intensity to it, and it made Kylo Ren less whiny, which he had to be a little whiny because he's the grandson of Anakin, and we all know how Anakin was. So but I had to tone it down. I feel like they overdid it in the theatrical version. I also removed Finn asking Rey if she has a boyfriend, because that comes out of nowhere, and it just felt weird. So I removed it. I also removed Finn getting caught by the Rathtar. And the reason I did that is because my intent with this first film was to make it so that Rey does not to quote the fandom, to make her no longer a Mary Sue. I don't want her to be overpowered and just be able to do stuff with the Force no matter what. Because she uses the Force a bit at that moment to help save Finn from the Rathtar. And I didn't want that to happen because that's her using the Force. I didn't want that to happen. So this was the first thing in that realm of stuff that I removed. And it's a quick cut, and it flows much better. I also removed a bunch of stuff with Maz. Maz crawls across the table and looks into Finn's eyes. It's this really awkward moment that I thought would have built to something later in the trilogy, and it never does. So I removed that moment. I also removed Maz saying a story for another time. This is when they're talking about the lightsaber, and she had it in that crate. And she's asked where she got that, and she says that's a story for another time. Well, it is 2024, and we are still waiting for that story from another time. And we never got it. So I removed that because there's no reason for her to say it. I then removed Rey using the Jedi mind trick. This was a moment that so many people complained about, myself included. How the heck was she able to do a Jedi mind trick? That's an advanced thing to do. That's like intense use of the Force. And she just it took 2 tries, and she convinces this stormtrooper to leave the room, and then in a panic she tells him to drop the weapon. It was ridiculous. By the way, side note and fun fact, that stormtrooper that she does the Jedi mind trick to is Daniel Craig. So very cool little secret cameo in that moment. Steve, I am working on getting viewings for this. I want to schedule this and get this out because I really want to show these to everybody. I then removed Kylo Ren freaking out again when he sees Rey escaped after the Jedi mind trick moment. It wasn't needed, and it kept the intensity going by removing that moment. This one I went back and forth on. I removed Finn yelling in Captain Phasma's face, going, "I'm in charge now. I'm in charge now." It just, I wanted Finn to continue to be like tough and like really hold his own, and I don't know, that moment I went back and forth on whether or not to keep it, and it was I finally ended up with removing that. So, and it ended up not hurting the film at all, so I did remove that moment. Now here was a big change that happened, and this was done completely reusing some audio from earlier in the film. We've now gone through the whole film. Rey is she's a scavenger. She's a fighter. We know she can fight. We saw her defend herself on Jakku. She's, a skilled person. She's had to fend for herself her whole life. So we get it. She's a capable fighter. She's gotten through this film. She has not used the Force at all. In fact, she really didn't even know what the Force was until Maz talked to her about it when she found the lightsaber. And the lightsaber called to her through the Force, and she panicked. She had that vision, which is an amazing moment in the film. That's one of the best things that happened in the whole sequel trilogy. That vision, when she touches the lightsaber and all that happens, and we hear the voices of other Jedi, it was amazing. It is an incredible moment. And Maz tells her about the Force and how important it is that this saber called to her. Now, at the end of the film, when she's fighting Kylo Ren in the woods, in the snow, and it gets to that moment, Rey's back is to the cliff, and Kylo is telling her that you need a teacher. He can sense that the Force is strong with her, but she doesn't fully know it. He tried probing her mind and she resisted. I forgot to put it in the notes here. I did edit that a little bit as well. It's not as much, so I didn't want Rey to appear so strong in that. But Kylo is aware that she is strong with the Force and telling her, you need a teacher. I can teach you. He's trying to turn her and get her to join him. And in this moment, I now have Rey hearing Maz speak to her again. Not just a memory. I wanted it to feel like it's a memory, but also Maz speaking to her through the Force. And this is the first time Rey taps into the Force. This is the first time. And this is the end of the film. And she realizes what she could potentially do here. And for the first time, she just barely taps into the Force enough to defend herself and get through this moment. And that's it. We see her. That's it with the Force. That's her realizing the Force truly awakening in her. And she now is starting to understand that there is something about her that she needs to find out and get the answers to, and no longer fear it, and find out what she needs to do. And it all culminates in that one moment now at the end of the film. And then after that, before we get to the credits of the film, I removed Chewbacca walking past Leia at the end. They don't even look at each other. And this is after Han died. I'm like, what sense does that make? And then in the theatrical film, instead, Rey hugs Leia, who she's never met and has no reason to, like, it made no sense. So I removed Chewbacca walking past Leia. I also removed Rey hugging Leia. It didn't need to be there. It made zero sense. And now the end of the film gets to the moment of the island faster. So that's what I did with The Force Awakens. Yeah. So I know this is a lot, and very, very different from a gaming stream, but I appreciate you guys hanging out for this, and I'm seeing the comments come in here in the chat talking about this, and trust me, we will definitely be setting up to do some watching of this, but that's what I did for The Force Awakens, and it has the least amount of changes to the film. The most work went into The Last Jedi, which I'm going to show you here and go through this. This is where the major changes to the story and how this trilogy plays out happens. So we're up to The Last Jedi, Episode 8. The first thing I removed were the mom jokes. Poe flying up to the ship and basically having a yo mama battle is no. So that's gone, because that opening of the film was really exciting, and I couldn't deal with that. So I completely removed the mom jokes, and it just gets going, and it's awesome. So I think people will really love that. I edited down most of the sequence of BB-8 repairing the X-Wing by plugging the holes. I only see him get in there like once or twice now, instead of the whole Looney Tunes moment of like 100 different things being plugged, and it was just ridiculous. It was just over the top and unnecessary. So I shortened that, and that moves a lot smoother. Here's a big one. Luke does not throw away the lightsaber. I have recut that moment, and Luke no longer throws the lightsaber away, which is the beginning of the biggest changes I've made to this film. Throughout the movie, I removed as many moments of Luke being rude, sarcastic, and full of hate as I possibly could in order to change the tone and portrayal of his character. This was tough to do, because there's a lot of moments where it's just like everything he says is just sarcastic, it's rude, it's just unnecessarily full of hate. It was insane. So what this starts to do is change his portrayal, where instead of him being there as just this angry hermit, he's now there more overcome by sadness, by regret, and by fear rather than anger. And oh no, he does not drink the green milk. That's gone as well. That moment is gone as well. Actually, I didn't put that in the notes. I gotta add that to notes. No more green milk. No more animal nipple twisting on the edge of the mountain. We don't need any of that. So that's gone as well. The way this changes Luke is that he now acts mysterious rather than sarcastic and hateful. He uses these moments to determine who Rey is and begin her training. I also added a deleted scene of Luke mourning the loss of Han. I have no idea why they even cut this from the film. It is a phenomenal moment, and it is a sin that they took this out of the film. So I put it back, and I tried to place it in a moment that it would fit. I ended up rearranging several scenes of this movie, and fitting this in was key. I won't say what it is, but I put in parentheses there, along with a bonus moment. I also edited in something to that deleted scene to make that moment even more powerful. If you've never seen this deleted scene, it's on the DVDs and Blu-rays. You can probably find it on YouTube as well. It's a great moment. It's only a few seconds long, in all honesty, but again, I don't know why they cut it. And the first time I ever saw it, I was like, man, I wish that was in the movie, and I have put it back in the movie. Like I said before, I reorganized several scenes to change the overall tone of the film. I edited scenes with Rey and Luke to create training moments rather than him pushing her away. During the Force Dyad, I removed the moment where you see the water drop being on Kylo's hand, because the water drop passed through the Force Dyad. Now, this is important to remember when it comes to episode 9, because I made major changes to how the Force Dyad works. So that is a moment I removed the water drop passing through the Force Dyad. I edited Leia's almost death scene. No more Leia Poppins. That scene, which should have been a really beautiful scene, just didn't land well. It looked silly. It was very strange, and so I edited this scene. It's much shorter. I also added to it Leia's theme. Her music is there now, rather than what was in the film itself. So it moves that moment along a lot better. I added a deleted scene of Rey saving the villagers on the island. This was a deleted scene where right after they're talking about the deeds of the Jedi, and how Luke's talking about how the Jedi need to end because they failed and all this stuff. I put this scene back into it because I was able to turn it into a training moment. Not only that, not just the training moment for Rey, I made this scene work as the motivation for Luke to choose to reconnect to the Force. And it becomes a much more powerful moment with this scene in there. But again, it was so important to have moments of Luke training Rey and teaching her things, teaching her lessons. So I thought it was very important to have that in there. Black Dragon says, Yondu, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That moment's fantastic. I love that. I wonder if they did that on purpose to make fun of this moment in the movie. In the cave, during Rey's Force visions, and she's looking at that reflection, that mirror, and she's saying she wants to see her parents, show me my parents. I added a hint of Palpatine in that scene. You can now hear him laugh. And the reason I did that is, one, to build more connection, to make it fit with episode 9, because again, the biggest thing missing from these movies is getting them to fit together. So I gave a little hint of Palpatine in that moment. The other reason I did it was because I always felt like that moment in the cave, especially that image she's looking through, that reflection, I feel like that could have been potentially a somewhat closed portal to the world between worlds. And we know that Palpatine was big into looking into that and trying to see through Force visions and everything. So I tried to make it work that way. So it's just a small, very little hint of Palpatine at that moment to help with the connection with episode 9. I removed Admiral Haldo, except for verbal references. So you hear characters talk about the Admiral. We no longer have the Admiral in the film. Admiral Holdo, in my opinion, was a completely useless character that actually hurt the film, because any moment that could have been a moment between Leia and Poe Dameron turned into moments between Poe and Holdo. And that didn't make sense to me, because especially in a point in the franchise where this should be a passing of the torch, I don't care about this random admiral that never existed before, that all she does is belittle Poe, and then in the end it's all for naught. So I love the actress, but I think Laura Dern's fantastic. Character sucked, so I got rid of her. You hear references, you hear characters talk about her, but she's no longer in the film. This was also incredibly important to remove her character completely for the sake of removing the Holdo maneuver later in the film. I added deleted scenes of Finn and BB-8, where BB-8 shows Finn a recording of Rey speaking to him while he's unconscious. This felt like a good moment to help motivate Finn to decide to go get off of the ship and try to get Rey to safety. I edited the Canto Bight scenes, reducing the overall time length. I also changed the sequence of events in the film. So the Canto Bight scenes, in my first cut of the film, I completely removed Canto Bight. But by doing that, I removed another character. I ended up removing the master, what's the guy? The Codebreaker, the Master Codebreaker. And I didn't want to do that, and that's where my first cut was really rough. So I put him back into the film, but I changed the way the film works. I now made it so that Finn and Rose are no longer arrested. In fact, there's no talk of them parking their ship on a beach where they shouldn't be parked. That's gone. But they're no longer arrested either. Instead, I rearranged sequences so it looks like now BB-8 is arrested. The reason is the way when you see it in the film, it could be portrayed as BB-8. It made it look like he was stealing money. Because remember that guy was like putting money in him, filling it up and everything, and now he's rolling around with all his money in him. I kind of looked at it like, droids are looked down upon all the time, and it's like, why would they have the money? So they kind of arrested him for stealing. That's the way I made it look. And now, because BB-8 is arrested, this allows BB-8 to find the Master Codebreaker and bring him to Finn and Rose. And then I was able to continue the film with that character and make the scenes work. As we push through, I've removed the fight between Luke and Rey after Luke stops the connection between Rey and Kylo through the Force dyad. Rey fights Luke, and just I never liked that happening. So I removed that. I also removed Luke trying to murder Ben. That never happens in my version. The motivation is always Ben turned to the dark side and he killed everyone in the academy and the Knights of Ren took him. That's all there. Ben turning to the dark side is the story. It's as simple as that. It didn't need to be anything else, especially Luke Skywalker attempting to murder his nephew. Yeah, that had to go. So it's gone. So that's not in there anymore. I also changed with the Jedi text. Luke no longer tries to burn the Jedi text. Instead, he's on his way to consult them before Yoda burns the tree. And I try to make that work a lot better. Now, here's a big change. I talked about removing Holdo. I had to remove the Holdo maneuver. And the way I made this work was I removed the Holdo maneuver. Instead, Rey and Kylo destroy the ship with the Force as they struggle for the lightsaber. I make this look like Rey and Kylo destroy the ship, not Holdo flying another ship through it at light speed. The Holdo remover is completely removed. I feel like this has a bigger impact, also showing the power of these two characters. I removed Finn trying to sacrifice himself on Crate. by crashing into the cannon. I didn't think he needed to do that. I removed the hologram dice. That's important because of the way I changed the things with the Force physical items moving through the Force. I just removed that little moment. I did, though, keep the ending with the children on Canto Bight when they're telling the stories about the rebellion and the Jedi. I feel like this is one of the most important moments because it is showing that the Jedi Order can return. So I kept that ending there. I thought that was very important. So those are a lot of changes that I made to The Last Jedi. It has the most changes to it. So we're coming up to the end here. I know it's getting late, guys, but here we go. We're going to dive into episode 9. I'm referring it to as episode 9 on purpose because one of the biggest changes I made to it is the title. It is no longer called The Rise of Skywalker. Episode 9 is now called The Rise of the Jedi. And I felt like this would fit better with the saga, where we had the OT ended with Return of the Jedi, and I think bringing it back around to something about the Jedi was important. So I think with the sequels being The Force Awakening, and then talking about The Last Jedi, where it could end, and now changing it to Rise of the Jedi and making this flow the right way. And you'll see when I'm talking about with these changes, Mar says, yeah, that's not even the same movie anymore. Yeah, it's the biggest changes in episode 8. The Last Jedi, my version of it, flows very differently. It's a very different film. So here we go. Let's dive into, we'll finish this off with The Rise of the Jedi. There's a new crawl. I rewrote the crawl to make this fit better. I have a whole new opening scene because the theatrical version of episode 9 starts with Kylo Ren just killing a bunch of people in the woods, and within a moment of doing that, he picks up a Sith holocron and leaves with it. And we have no idea where he was. We don't know why he was looking for that. We don't know why he killed those people in the woods. We know nothing because the film didn't tell us anything about that. So I created a new opening scene featuring Kylo Ren learning where to find the Sith holocron. It begins with Kylo meditating with Vader's burnt helmet, and Kylo starts to get visions through the Force, through the dark side. And that's what leads him to Mustafar. That planet was Mustafar, everybody. And it leads him there. Vader, in basically the way I set this up, is that Vader technically leads him to the Sith hologram, which later we find out wasn't Vader at all. We know it's Palpatine. But in this opening, he's reaching back out to his grandfather, trying to finish what he started. And the next part of the mission is that Sith hologram. So I created a whole new opening scene. I removed hyperspace skipping. When they start skipping the Millennium Falcon by jumping the hyperspace for just a moment, going from planet to planet all over the place, I thought that was ridiculous. So I removed that and made the scene flow a little better. I edited Rey's training course so that it doesn't get interrupted. She gets interrupted by sudden visions from Kylo Ren. I made those visions work with the opening of the film now, so it's all rearranged and it fits better. So now her training goes uninterrupted. I removed any moments of the Resistance having any knowledge of Palpatine's return. I didn't want the Resistance to know about Palpatine. I felt that plot was meant for Rey and Kylo. There was no need for the rest of the Resistance to know anything about Palpatine coming back. Instead, the alerts they get and the knowledge they receive is about a new massive fleet, the new fleet of Star Destroyers. But with that, I also removed any reference to Death Star cannons being attached to every single one of those Death Stars, to those Star Destroyers. Again, I thought that was jumping the shark. I thought that was too much, over the top, and was unnecessary. It made a ridiculous level of this threat that just it didn't work for me. So I removed it. And surprisingly, it was very easy to remove any reference of that and make the whole thing just work. So now we have two plot lines going on. The Resistance trying to work together to figure out what they're going to do about this massive fleet they've heard of, basically the return of the Empire. Meanwhile, Rey and Kylo Ren have their plot line that does involve Palpatine and all the stuff with the Force and all that stuff. So it keeps it contained. I removed all moments of objects traveling through the Force dyad. That was when I talked about removing the water drop in The Last Jedi, that was why I did that. The idea of a physical object being passed from one person to another through the Force just did not sit well with me. I didn't like it. It felt weird. It also felt incredibly lazy. And then there's a moment where Rey and Kylo fight. They fight in the dyad. They have a lightsaber fight through the Force dyad. I don't know. I'm sure plenty of people enjoyed that. I'm sure there's plenty of people that love that. It did not land for me. I thought it was unnecessary, and I was able to remove it from the film and make it work. I removed Force healing. Force healing is gone. Rey does not heal a giant worm in a cave. That scene is gone. Any reference to Force healing is gone. That's a video game ability, and it didn't need to be there. It also kind of breaks the saga because, well, if the Jedi could just heal people, why didn't they? Why didn't Obi-Wan heal Qui-Gon when he got stabbed by Darth Maul? Why wasn't everyone Force healing? Why couldn't they just Force heal everybody? So it broke the story, so I removed it. I removed Chewbacca's death fake out. He's now just captured. The death fake out with Chewbacca literally lasts a couple of seconds in the movie, in the theatrical version. It's like, oh my God, he's dead. Oh, he's not dead. Like, it's that quick. And so it felt pointless. So I rearranged it. He's just captured. Again, I like I mentioned before, I removed the lightsaber fighting through the dyad. I thought that was pretty ridiculous. When Rey gets to the Death Star wreckage, I added hints of Palpatine talking to her through the Force. I thought that was a pretty cool way to connect it and have them build that lead up to these characters meeting each other. Spidey says, Force healing is generally documented as a rare ability available to only a few Force users, even among Jedi. Yeah, it's like one of those things, like, it just, because of the way she just started doing it, this was, again, part of the problem of Rey becoming too powerful too quickly. It was something that was like, oh my God, like, the mind trick was one thing, but now you could just heal. Like, she was getting too powerful too quickly. The way these films progress, and by the time you get to episode 9, Rey has earned her way. She has learned these lessons. She has learned these abilities. And by the time you get to episode 9, her character feels so different. You feel like, okay, you've been on a journey, and I've been on a journey with you. And now your level of ability is making sense. And yes, she's supposed to be powerful, which she does become. But that's the thing. She becomes powerful. She doesn't start powerful. That was one of the biggest things with this and why I did this. Let me come down here. We're almost at the end here, guys. Whoa, spoiler. I edited a little bit of Rey and Kylo's fight on the Death Star wreckage at the beginning of it, and then the biggest part was the end of their fight on top of the wreckage when they're in the ocean and fighting. It's a really cool fight scene. I love that moment in this movie. But what I changed was Rey no longer strikes Kylo. She does not stab him with the lightsaber. Instead, Leia brings Ben back to the light in the fight's final moments, which results in Leia's death. Her sacrifice saves her son. I thought if anyone was going to use any form of healing, for lack of a better term, if anyone was going to show some real power through the Force, and we know that Leia in the expanded universe trained with Luke, and then they even talk about that she trained with Luke in this film, so we know she received training, we know she's powerful in the Force. She uses her last bit of just all of herself, of her energy, of her life force, and reaches out to her son through the Force to bring him back. She brought Ben back to the light, and that was her sacrifice to save her son. And it made her death meaningful. It made it mean something and be worth something in this film. Not just getting rid of a character, which is what a lot of these films did. This had to mean something. And in that moment, the fight ends, and Kylo is gone, and Ben Solo is back. That was a huge, huge moment in this edit here. Rey now throws the lightsaber, does a force throw the lightsaber to Ben, and in the climax of the film, when Ben is getting surrounded by the Knights of Ren. He doesn't have a weapon. Rey has two lightsabers. She's playing into what Palpatine is saying, like, strike me down, and all this stuff and whatever. So she's going like this, and then she brings the lightsaber behind her. And in the theatrical film, they use the Force dyad to just pass the lightsaber through the Force to Ben. That, again, I hated physical objects moving through the Force. It made no sense to me. Look, if you like that, if you're a fan of that ability, more power to you. I am thrilled that you enjoy it. I want people to enjoy things. That's great. It didn't land for me, and I found a way to make it work for me. This edit here is the most rough one in the film. Because I had to utilize other footage to make this work. So it is a bit of a jolt, but you now see the lightsaber flying. Like it's a more of a force throw than it is of a passing through. She uses the Force to literally bring the lightsaber to Ben from the point where she's standing through the building to Ben. And then that is how he gets the lightsaber. That was a huge thing that I wanted to change in there. Here's another big one coming to the end of the film: Force Ghosts. I was able to get a moment in here through another fan project where at the end, where Rey is facing against Palpatine and they're holding off the lightning, the ghosts of Luke and Obi-Wan and Yoda and Anakin join her. And they are there in the scene now with her to take down Palpatine. And it's awesome. I can't take full credit for it because someone else created it, but I was able to merge this moment and take pieces of it and fit it into my edit to make the vision I wanted come true. And we now have Force Ghosts at the end of the film. And I think it plays out really, really well. I removed Rey and Ben kissing. The kiss between them, I felt like it was completely unnecessary. I'm going to move this up a little bit to get the rest of the phrasing here. Out of nowhere, I wanted their connection to be powerful, and it already was. The connection between Kylo Ren and Rey is incredibly powerful, and you know, the connection between her and Ben. It was already powerful enough. It did not need a romantic side of it to be just suddenly jammed in there at the very end. it made no sense and was completely unnecessary, and it kind of takes away from the power of that moment. So instead, the kiss is gone. Ben saves Rey. The way I looked at this was, and this came from inspiration from the Star Wars Obsession. I don't know if you're still here, dude, but the Star Wars Obsession sent me and Scotty Hawk a meme that was going around that was talking about Ben doing what Anakin wanted to do. Anakin says in episode 2, I'll even learn to stop people from dying. And like he was adamant about it. Like this was, Anakin was like, I am going to stop people from dying. That's how powerful I'm going to be. And how amazing is it that potentially Anakin's grandson in this Skywalker bloodline could actually accomplish what Anakin set out to do. Anakin failed. He couldn't stop Padme from dying. He couldn't save her. But what if his grandson could somehow find it in himself to be able to do this? And he in fact does. He saves Rey from dying. But that ability was too much. It was too much for him to handle, and it killed him. In his last moment, he did what his mother did for him and saved another. And so I thought it made the moment just this beautiful moment and really connect it back to the rest of the saga. Connect Ben to Anakin rather than Kylo to Vader. Let's connect Ben to Anakin. And I feel like that plays out much better. The final thing this is the end of the whole thing here, guys. I removed the Rey Skywalker line. She's no longer called Rey Skywalker. I did this because this keeps her character as just Rey, or it can even be interpreted as Rey Palpatine. I made this change because I feel that she does not need the Skywalker name in order to be an important character, and she can shape her own destiny. I don't think she needs the Skywalker name attached to her at all. She was a great character on her own, and she doesn't need to just be forced into that. So I removed that. It just, the whole moment of her saying Rey Skywalker, it's just gone. It just makes the ending flow a little better, and then she sees, Luke and Leia. I tried putting into this moment the ghost of Ben, but I couldn't get it to work. It came out really sloppy, and I wasn't happy with it, so I just decided not to do it. My intent was to have Luke and Leia and Ben to be there at the end as Force ghosts, but I couldn't get it to work, so unfortunately that doesn't happen. But I did remove the whole Rey Skywalker portion of it, so she gets to just continue on as just Rey. And that's pretty much how my version of the sequel trilogy plays out. Whew, that was a lot, guys. Whew. I know that this is very different from our normal streams. It was a lot to go through there. I just literally took you guys through an entire document that I wrote of taking notes of editing a movie. But I've been thinking about this a lot, and I really want to set up showings for the Matcave community. I want to set this up in Discord so that I can present the film so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But I've been dying to share this with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this stream overall. Again, I know it's been very different from our normal Way Back Wednesdays, and we're going to be getting right back into the swing of things next week. We're actually going to be continuing into the world of Star Wars. We're going to be playing one of the most underrated sequels, in my opinion, of all time, Knights of the Old Republic 2. We're going to be diving into that game next week and taking a look at where they went with the lore of Jedi and Sith. So I'm looking forward to that. It's yeah, I have this. I actually have Black Dragon. I have these on my Google Drive. So if anyone's interested in checking these out, if you'd like to download the copies for yourself, because I recommend downloading. They are large files because I exported them in 4K. I wanted to keep them as high quality as I could. So these are between 20 to 30 gigs each. But anyone who's interested in getting a copy of these, reach out to me on either Twitter or Discord. DM me, and I will get you guys access to it. I have it all in a folder on my Google Drive, so that the intent was, so if anybody wants to check these out, they'll be there for you guys. So definitely let me know. Hit me up on Twitter or Discord. Before we wrap up, let's take a look at the poll. It ended here. The question was, are you happy with the current state of Star Wars overall? This ended with 31% are happy with how this all turned out so far and how the Star Wars franchise is going, and 69% are not happy with the overall state of Star Wars as it stands today. It's an interesting time to be a fan of Star Wars. We've all been through a lot with it. I'll end by saying I do truly believe we have some good things coming. I think there's been enough of a jolt to Disney and Lucasfilm that people are starting to finally realize mistakes have been made and that things need to go in a different direction. And I think with the delays and repositioning of things coming out, which order they're potentially coming out in the coming years, I think that's a sign that they are trying to do the right thing. So I am hopeful for the future of the franchise. I look forward to more Star Wars. I look forward to more Star Wars games. I hope we get more in the near future. If there are any Star Wars games, retro or modern, that you would like to see played on the channel and go through some of the stories, or even just look at them and for technical reasons like we did tonight, let me know down in the comments. Let me know in the community page. Let me know on Discord or Twitter. Reach out. It's one of the best ways to help support the channel, is just really just interacting with the channel. I love spending this time with you guys. It's awesome. I am also, Black Giant, I'm looking forward to Outlaws. It looks pretty cool. So I think we have some good things coming in the near future when it comes to Star Wars. I think the Force will be strong with us. I hope the Force will always be with you. And until next time, everybody, keep retro gaming alive, because one day your games will be retro too. Guys, I will see you all next week.